Welcome, my little couch potatoes, to the comfiest courtroom on the internet. I'm your host, Llama, and it's time for dramatic testimony, overruled objections, and absolutely unqualified opinions. So grab your snuggiest blanket, some delicious snacks, and get ready to watch court with your internet besties. This is Couch Court with Llama.
Hello, my little couch potatoes. Gosh, I missed you guys. Hold on, I forgot to turn my phone on. Mute, because, I forgot how to do all of this in 2 days, apparently. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Anyway, oh my gosh, I've missed you guys. I feel like this has been the longest weekend ever. I mean, I've been very busy, so maybe that's why it feels that way, but it feels like forever since we've been on here together. So, y'all are like, what are we going to do today, Llama? Well, I got a lot of stuff to talk about and share with you guys today. So, but first, let's say hello to some people in chat. Hi. Hi, Lady in Gray. Hello. Good morning. Who watched some stuff this weekend? You did. We're going to be watching a lot of stuff today, so I'm very excited about it. Good morning, Angie. Good morning. Good morning, Elbow Feet. Don't forget, you guys, when you're coming in to take your spot on the couch, hit the like button. It lets everybody know that we're live and they can come join our party today. So let's see where to start first. So today we are going to catch up on the copious amounts of interviews related to the Karen retrial. This includes some family. This includes some more jurors speaking out. And yes, there's an interview with the McAlberts that I feel like I'm going to have some strong opinions about. So we're going to watch some of that and get caught up on all that. Let me tell you, first of all, what I will not be playing for you guys. But I'm going to remind you now and later to go watch it. So what was it, Friday night, you guys? Yeah, it was Friday night. Ronco of the Bailey, who is one of my favorite YouTube lawyers. Love that guy. He had an exclusive first interview with Yannetti and Alessi. And I thought a lot of us were just like, oh, it's just going to be a short interview. It goes on for like over 2 hours. And it was fascinating. I sat it up in my bed, not working on anything, like a little fangirl. It was absolutely amazing to watch. They are like the nicest down-to-earth guys, which I feel like is not the reputation of a lot of lawyers. So that is on Ronco of the Bailey's channel, and I highly recommend that if you have not watched it yet, watch it after our show today. Again, it's like 2.5 hours. I mean, it says 5 hours because Ronco has to read through like 600 super chats. But don't worry, the interview's all from the beginning for about 2.5 hours. I don't know. I meant to watch it again. I probably will watch it again, but let's go over there, give Ronco the views, subscribe to him. He's, again, one of my favorite lawyers. He's a Canadian lawyer, which is interesting, but he covers a lot of U.S. trials, and he's very knowledgeable, and I think he might be part elf. I don't know, but I think he might be magical, is all I'm saying. So that happened on Friday. Last night, Turtle Boy had on Juror 11, who we heard a little bit from on Friday, but we are definitely going to hear from her today and other interviews she did. That's Paula Prado, I think is her name. Anyway, she was on Turtle Boy for also maybe like 2.5 hours. And she's amazing. I want to be besties with her. And when she goes to watch the first trial again, I hope she gets in contact with me and we just watch it together because she's fantastic. Yes, that's right. Just go boop, hit the like button. Hello, raindrops and feathers. Oh my God, hi, love you too. So happy you're here. Yes, Runkle does claim his elfish side. I'm not being a jerk, but I am convinced that elves are real, and he is one of them. That's all I'm saying. So then Turtle Boy did an interview yesterday with her. Again, she was on there for about 2.5 hours. I understand that Turtle Boy isn't everyone's favorite. It was honestly my first time ever actually watching any of his stuff. And I was actually really impressed with his interview. He was also on there with, it was Paula and attorney Bidro. I forget what his first name is. I read off the top of my head. But I really enjoyed both his and Runkle's interviews because they asked some really, really good questions of, Runkle and Alessia Nettie, and then Turtle Boy and Juror 11. I thought they asked her some really great questions that I don't know if we're going to hear in these other interviews. But they so good. At least we know one juror was like thinking like us the entire time, which was refreshing to hear, because it's like, well, is the Commonwealth just gaslighting? Is everyone seeing what we're seeing? Mark Boudreau, thank you. I knew it was an M, and my brain kept going Michael, and I was like, nope, that's not right. Don't even say it, Llama. You got his last name. It'll be fine. But thank you for the assist, Lady in Gray. So after we're all done here today, definitely go watch the Runkle interview with the lawyers and Turtle Boy. I also saw that another attorney, Melanie Little, on YouTube, who I follow as well, tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern, so whatever time it says on your YouTube thing, she's also going to have Yannetti and Alessi on as well for an interview. So I will be watching that. Is that how he says his name? Bettero? Okay, well, it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure he gets called that all the time. It's fine. So we're going to watch and get caught up with all these interviews. We're not going to be on very long today because I'm not going to tell you why yet. But after we're done catching up on the Karen Read stuff, I'm going to tell you what's going to be in store for Couch Court for the next couple of weeks. And we made some decisions and why we chose those decisions and why I'm really excited to tell you all about it. Because I was up till like 3:30 in the morning working on it, and I'll still be up doing that all day too. But I'm very excited about it. But we'll save that for the end. So first, though, I want to start off. So the lovely Amos, excuse me. Yep, that coffee was very helpful. A little hot, but helpful. Anyway, so the lovely Amos had asked people for some suggestions of like who would play, if there was a movie on the Karen Read trial, who would play who. And I think a lot of these are suggested by Canton, but I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, she made a little video for us. So I thought we would start off with that, with some fun. Let's see. How do I do this? Get it together, Lana. That's right. I did learn how to say Boudreau. Okay. These people and their last names gotta be all difficult. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So this is a compilation that Amos has put together about who would play who in the Karen Read trials. So let's see. Oh, fantastic. Is this playing? Yes, it is. Oh, okay. So we have Jennifer Jason Lee for Karen, Krasowski as Judge Beverly Cannoni. Oh my God. Yes. Christopher Maloney as David Yannetti. Oh, that's a good one. Greg Kinnear as Alan Jackson. Oh, that's good. That is good. Hank Brennan, played by Ed. Also good. Leslie Bibb as Jen McCabe. That's a good one. Melanie Linsky as Carrie Roberts. Excellent choice. Tilda Swinton as Kate McLaughlin, the ambulance lady. Robert Alessi, played by Antonio Banderas. Ooh, that's an interesting choice. Elizabeth Little, played by Elle Fanning. Okay. Adam Lally, played by Jason Alexander. I love Jason Alexander. Richard Albert as Matthew DeSogra, which is Richard Albert is from Lost. That's his last name. John Hamm as Dr. Daniel Wolf, and Christopher Walken as a Zeke Wolf. I love that. Seth Rogers as Shannon Burgess. Somebody needs to make this movie now. Kathy Bates as Dr. Marie Russell. Oh my God, yes. Meryl Streep as Dr. Elizabeth LaPosada. Yes. Jeremy Renner as Aidan Kearney. Also yes. Bruce McGill as Brian Higgins. Corey Stoll as disgraced former trooper Michael Proctor. Good choice. Oh, that was all of them. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to play it again in case somebody missed it. A couple of few. Karen Reed was played by Drea De Matteo. I remember her from Sopranos. I think Captain came with a lot of these. I don't know who all came with it, but I think we just casted the whole movie. And I think we should submit this to Hollywood. Done. Because these are so great. Because I can like see those actors like playing them. That's such a great job. You guys are so creative. I love it. Oh, Jen McCabe. Oh, wow. Anyway, yes, these are fantastic. Yes, didn't they do a great job selecting those? I love it. Yep, Christopher Walken, the Kathy Bates one, and Dead. She would make the perfect Dr. Russell. Like, I love her. Have you guys watched Matlock with her? I haven't finished the first season. I got pretty far. I need to finish it though. I enjoyed it. It's different than what you think it might be. Raindrops and Feathers says Turboy said he's actually starting the production of a Karen Reed movie. Well, Turboy, we've already done some casting for you. If you could just give our listeners some credits, I think we'll be good. Also, can we be invited to the movie set, please? And thank you. Yeah, that's a pretty good cast. I would absolutely watch this movie or show. Well, see, though, that's the thing is I don't think you could do it in a movie. It had to be one of those, like, dramatic series that you see on Hulu. I forget what channel does them. Not the Lifetime ones. Those are always hot garbage. But, oh, you think Sam Neill could play Alan Jackson? Also, good answer. Good answer. I love that. All right, so let's get into, let me go back to my cheat sheet here real quick. Sorry, because there's a lot to talk about. Oh, no, that's for later. Okay, so the first thing we're going to watch is Court TV with the wonderful Vinny Bolton, who some people like him, some don't. But he has an interview with Juror 11, it looks like, who's Paula. We've already heard a little bit from, we're going to hear a lot from Paula. She has a lot of stuff to say. And again, I want to be like BFFs. Good morning, Juju Bean. Good morning. Said, would Karen want to portray herself? I mean, maybe, but probably not. She probably wants to sleep for a long time. Buffy says a limited series on Netflix. Oh, yeah, but Netflix always cancels things. Nah. John Cena should play Chloe. Yes. With those little like dog ears. Yes. Angie thinks Amber Heard could be Jen McCabe. Oh, you guys are great. All right, so let's get rid of that one. Burp. Okay. And we're going to do that. So, yeah, some of these are not like, they're like shorter ones. So I try to like time them up to when they start. So that's too small. I can't even, hold on. Okay. There we go. And share. There we go. And, oh, that was full screen. Okay. I'm getting it together. Oh, Mark Wahlberg. Totally. Oh, gosh, who'd be? Buchanan, maybe? No, because Buchanan doesn't really have a Boston accent. Oh, we didn't do Buchanan. Anyway. All right. Let's see how this interview Swelcher. Yes. All right. Let's see what Juror 11 has to say with this interview she did with Court TV the other day.
One for the ages. Never seen anything like it. Okay, it is time. I am joined by Paula Prado, one of the 12 jurors in the Karen Reed retrial of this century. Paula, thank you so much for joining us tonight. First of all, are you feeling okay? This has been a lot. This has been a long process. You feeling okay tonight?
Yeah, it's just a bit tired with everything that has been going on, especially today, but I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, so we appreciate that. Let me ask you, first of all, not guilty or factually innocent? In your mind tonight, not guilty meaning prosecutors didn't prove it. That's the standard in our courtrooms, we understand. Do you believe that she was just not proven guilty, or do you believe she was factually innocent, meaning you are convinced she had nothing to do with the death of John O'Keefe?
Not guilty and innocent. In my personal opinion, she is innocent. I can't see his death being caused by a collision. I'm not sure if a collision happened. I've mentioned before that maybe she touched him, maybe she backed up a little fast and hit a curb or got too close to him and he had to step away or something. But I don't think her car pushed John O'Keefe to death, that pushed him away and made him hit his head on the floor and kill him. So not guilty and innocent.
And you just mentioned one potential theory there. Is that what you think may have happened here to John O'Keefe? What are your thoughts about how John O'Keefe could have ended up dead on the yard of 34 Fairview?
Yeah, again, it's a theory. The same way I couldn't prove that Karen Reed was guilty, I can't prove what happened inside that house, what happened that night. But I do believe that because of the amount of alcohol both of them had, John O'Keefe had more to drink than Karen. Maybe when he left the car, she could back up too fast and touch him, and that could be an explanation for him to lose his shoes or for his phone to fall down and get in pocket state, which was something that the data showed us. But in my opinion, he got up and he went inside the house with or without shoes. I don't know when he lost his shoes eventually, but I don't think he died outside. I think something happened inside the house and he was placed outside.
And do you have because it's not clear, and the defense was talking about the garage. In the first trial, they talked about the basement. Do you have any idea where in the house he may have gone, and why do you think that?
Assuming that a lot of the witnesses that was in the house that night didn't see him, all the Brian, his friends, the people who are celebrating his birthday, assuming that none of them saw him, so maybe he went inside the house through the garage. And during trial, there was a moment with a picture of the garage that was hidden from us. We had to leave the courtroom and then come back. And we don't know why the garage door has to be blurred for us. I don't know why we can see pictures from inside the garage or having an idea how the inside the garage look. But I remember in one of the witnesses, the last one, Dr. La Posada, she mentioned that she saw pictures of a real estate agency of the garage inside, but was objected and we didn't hear from her what was inside the garage, but raised doubts, raised questions.
So just the fact that there was a question about it. So what was your interpretation of why you weren't allowed to see it? Like, what's the impact of that on you? That's something I'm always very curious about when there's a piece of evidence that one side wants in, and then all of a sudden you're not allowed to see it. What did you take away from that?
It becomes suspicious. If there is something over there that the Commonwealth didn't want us to see, it's because it could be something beneficial to Karen Reed. And what could be beneficial for Karen Reed regarding a garage door or a picture of inside the garage coming from a real estate? I don't know, but I think that was a question for a lot of us.
Fascinating. How quickly did the entire jury agree that there wasn't a collision?
I cannot count Friday as a day we actually start deliberating. On Friday was just more as everybody just want to talk because we've been silent about this case for so long. Right. And we really want to just put it out our impressions, what we think about the trial, this evidence, X, Y, and Z. So it was very chaotic. But Monday we start to be more organized and checking the witnesses and checking our notebooks, what one juror had written, what I did, and what other did, so we can check facts and see and remember everything that we heard and saw it. There were people who didn't believe Karen Reed killed him, and there was also, I would say, 30% that was like in the fence, and there were two people who want to think she was guilty, and we had to talk through it.
And how long did it take to talk through it for everyone to agree that, hey, this wasn't a collision, now we've got to talk about the operating under the influence charge?
The next 3 days, pretty much.
Okay,
whole Monday, whole Tuesday, we are going through it.
Okay, I didn't know if you had reached it on one and then we're just focused on the other, but it was a continuing conversation. Let me ask you, do you have any idea what was going on outside?
No, and it's bothering me that some people think we are influenced by the Karen Reed supporters, that we are hearing them and we felt pressure or something. We couldn't hear anything. We didn't see them in the courthouse because the bus always dropped us off in the back of the courthouse, and the streets were closed. Police were protecting us. The people from the court, the security guards, they were all protecting us. So no way we couldn't see what was happening in front of the court. Sometimes we would drive by and see a pink shirt here and there, but that was it. Not that big crowd, and we couldn't hear. Bottom line, we couldn't hear.
Okay, let's get into some of the evidence here. What was the most important piece of evidence for you? Physical evidence, whether it's a video or something tangible. What was the most important piece that helped you understand what happened?
The piece of tail light definitely was very important to me. Seeing the broke tail light compared to a new one, comparing to his shirts, comparing to the little pieces. So putting everything together around the tail light was very important. And the holes on John O'Keefe hoodie, it didn't feel like something coming from the plastic of the tail light, the shape of the holes. So that raised suspicion to me and reasonable doubt.
I love her.
His arm injuries, for sure. Seeing close-up pictures of his arms and the autopsy pictures in general, looking for more injuries, more evidence of a collision from a car at 24 miles per hour. And I couldn't see it, and none of us could.
That's interesting, right? I said, what's the most important piece of evidence? And you pointed out a couple of things, but there's also a lack of evidence, which is significant as well. Who was the most important witness?
Good morning.
The medical examiners were very important. The engineers from ARCA, to me, were very important. But also the witness who didn't behave as we expected. Their demeanor in the court, in the stand, they were nervous, they were not answering directly. So we observed that too. So most important witness for me was ARCA, both of the engineers who came, but also observe Officer Dever and Officer Buchanan and how they interacted with the lawyers in court. That also was very important to me.
Yeah,
Did you feel at any point during this trial that anyone was misleading you or trying to mislead you, whether it's one of the lawyers or one of the witnesses?
Every day, I think that's something that we comment in the deliberation room, that we felt lied from everyone, everywhere. Like some moments, I know attorneys, they needed to make the drama and point out things and say things that they know they're not supposed to say, but they try to put it out there so we can think about it. I felt some witnesses hide information. Not sure if they lied on stand, but hide information for sure. And the lawyers were they're doing their job. They're just trying to lead us in the direction that was convenient to them.
Okay, I get the part with the lawyers. From the witnesses, which witnesses did you feel were trying to hide something from you?
All of them. All of them.
I think Jen McCabe was. I think O'Hara, Officer O'Hara. Don't remember his first name. He was shaking. He was very, very nervous during the trial. I'm not sure about the name, but I think Officer Keefe, too, Buchanan, he seems to be very uncomfortable, and something he said didn't seem believable.
Now, was there any witness that you wanted to hear from that did not testify in the trial? Because there were a lot of names talked about during the course of the trial, but not all of them testified. Was there anyone that you wanted to hear from that neither side called to the witness stand?
Definitely. I would really want to hear from Brian Higgins and Brian Albert or Nicole Albert. It was a surprise to all of us that none of them were come to the stand. I didn't know their faces. I just heard their names. I didn't even know who Michael Proctor was until I learned through trial that he was a former officer, so he was fired.
But
because he was fired and so many people brought his investigation to the spotlight, I think I didn't need to see him, but I really want to see Higgins and Albert.
And what did you want to hear them talk about?
Please, what Brian Higgins was doing in the middle of the night, on the 29th of January, 2022, in the Canton Police Department. And really, Brian Alberts and Nicole, you guys didn't hear, didn't see, didn't notice, felt what was going on outside? Those big question marks.
Okay, imagine that Karen Reed is with you in a room. What questions do you have for Karen Reed?
How can you be so calm all the time? Honestly, that's shocking to me. First of all, I'm sorry that she went through this whole thing, and I want to hear from her, like, how she maintained herself so calm and so present and so participative in the whole trial, how she maintained herself so firm all the time, honestly.
Do you have any questions of her about what happened that night?
I think she said enough about what happened, and if I had a chance to talk to her, I wouldn't go on this subject at all. I want to know about her, I want to learn about her, her personality, her likes, her life, whatever, what she has to say to teach, to show us something for the future. I wouldn't ask about the past. That was draining for everybody, and imagine for her, for Keith's family. What happened at night was presented to us in court. She said many times on television, there is docuseries, there is documentary, there is interviews. I can find that online, no problem.
Oh,
how about the investigators? What questions do you have for the men and women who were investigating this case?
Why no report? Why the investigation seems so sloppy? Why you guys didn't ask for ring camera of the neighbors? Why you didn't call the owner of the house? Why the video on the Sally Port record inverted? Why you didn't collect evidence right away and left in the floor of a hospital and didn't secure evidence once it was in a Canton Police Department? So many questions. Yeah. All the holes that we found in the investigation, I want to ask.
You mentioned so many questions. I have so many more questions. And Paula Prado, juror number 11, is going to stay with us. We really appreciate it. I know she's tired, but she's being a good trooper tonight and helping us out. Too. All right, folks, so when we come back, more of our interview plus coming up next hour.
Hold on.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, the acquittal of Karen Reed resulted in a celebration in the streets outside the courthouse. But what about the friends and family?
Century of Karen Reed. Okay, Paula, first of all, everyone's wondering, you are wearing pink tonight. Is that on purpose? Is there a meaning to it? Or is it just one of your colors that you love?
Mm-hmm. It's a color that I love. In fact, I stopped wearing pink mid-trial. I had a lot of pink shirts, and once I heard that was part of her supporters, I don't want to give a wrong message, so I stopped wearing them. So just like a light baby pink, has nothing to do with my support.
Okay. You and me both. Mm-hmm. I have a whole bunch of pink ties I haven't worn, a whole bunch of blue ties that I haven't worn for months now. Okay, let's talk about the taillight and the taillight pieces.
Wow, Vinny.
How do you believe the taillight pieces ended up at 34 Fairview scattered near the place where John O'Keefe's body was found?
The theory I have, like, if she back up and maybe hit something, a curb or him, or some people in the juror raised the question, maybe he broke he was bad and he could have thrown the glass on the taillight and break it. Another thing, the taillight was found 5:45, but there wasn't a report. The evidence bag didn't say the time. And the car was retrieved and was parked in the sale port at 5:36, if I'm not wrong. And it's very close. The 34 Fairview and the police department is very close. It was time enough for someone to just show up and drop a piece of taillight at the scene.
So you believe that's a reasonable possibility that someone could have planted the evidence?
Yes, I think it's a possibility. I also think could be because she bumped something or even him, but lightly, not enough to kill him, throw him away, and he hit his head and die.
Okay, I'm going to show you some images. We put them up there in a second. These are the images from the closing argument of the Commonwealth. When you look at these images of the taillight, this is 5:07. This is after Karen Reed leaves 34 Fairview, but before state troopers take custody of her SUV. Do you believe these show the right taillight broken to the extent that the Commonwealth says it was broken?
Absolutely not. There is like a white stain. It could be a crack, it could be a small piece out, but not that big damage that they showed us after the car was on the sale port.
So I just want to make this clear. You believe that the images that we're looking at right here, inconsistent with the final photo that was in evidence of the total damage that the Commonwealth alleged was caused by Karen Reed striking and killing John O'Keefe.
Correct. And we also heard from Officer Barrows. He said that what he saw in Karen Reed's parents' house wasn't consistent with the final picture neither. So we listened to him as well.
Do you believe that there were small red shards of that taillight in John O'Keefe's clothing? Hank Brennan, the prosecutor, talked a lot about that. Do you believe they were there? And if so, how did they get there?
The pieces were so tiny. So from all the big pieces they said they found on the 34 Fairview, that tiny dust of taillight to the stop on his shirt, I don't know, it doesn't seem credible.
True.
Okay, let me ask you about...
And also the lab, the state lab didn't say from where. She took this from exactly where on his clothes this debris were found.
Let me move on to the experts now. There was a battle of experts in this case. A lot of money was spent on these experts. What did you think of what we're calling the blue paint experiment that was done by Aperture, the accident reconstruction experts?
I think some other people have asked better questions, but that's the media for you.
I think that the evidence wasn't good enough compared to what ARCA presented to us. That seems very unprofessional. What he was trying to prove with the blue paint was the place that the car could hit him without considering speed, without considering his size, weight. They're not the same size, they're not the same weight. The dummy wasn't either, but he has a human arm, so it's not like a dummy arm. And hit himself at 2 miles an hour is way different than 24 miles an hour. Yeah. I smirk a little bit when I start seeing this video in court, because it was unbelievable that they pay so much money for someone to show this, just that presentation.
So I guess from your perspective, we always talk about the battle of the experts was clearly won from your perspective by the ARCA experts.
Yeah, the ARCA experts did a way better job than Dr. Welcher did. I won't say Dr. Welcher intended to lead us to certain directions. He was, in his head, probably he was doing what he was asked for. He was proving that the tail light could reach John O'Keefe's arm, but we call it the preschool project.
A preschool
It didn't convince
project.
us of anything.
Okay.
Yes.
So the injuries on John O'Keefe's arm, he did have some injuries, right? I understand that you thought there should be more, but the injuries that he did have, how do you believe he got those injuries?
I believe in a dog theory. I know we didn't talk much about the dog in court, and we also didn't talk about the dog during deliberation because wasn't presented to us much information about the dog. But as soon as I saw that picture, to me sounds like paws scratching and bites of dogs close to his elbow. I couldn't shake it off, this impression that it was a dog.
And what were your thoughts of the allegations that Jennifer McCabe, searched how long to die in the cold at 2:27 a.m.?
That makes me angry.
Do you believe that she did?
No, that's something the Commonwealth, I think, proved that she didn't. They did well on that one. The explanation that I think Dr. Whiffen gave about the first tab that you opened, and then if you're going to search something in the same tab later, it's going to register the time you open the tab. That was reasonable. I think most of the jurors believe in that. We didn't question that search in the middle of the night.
Okay, Paula Prado, Juror 11. She's staying with us. We're going to take another short break. When we come back, more questions and, more important, more answers from juror number.
Right.
Think of Karen Reed.
Oh, hold on.
Case and is guilty of every charge that actually mattered in the case.
This is longer than I thought it was going to be.
Welcome back, folks.
Don't worry, we got plenty more to go through.
We've got Paula Prado with us. She was juror number 11 in this case and is really giving us incredible insight tonight. Again, thank you so much. What do you think of Karen Reed? Like, what's your opinion of her? What do you think of her as a person, as a human?
My first impression of her wasn't that good. I had this first prejudgment because she was very calm all the time. She didn't show any emotion, no tears. I'm a Latina woman, so I would expect someone to be crying and making a scene or something when you're being charged for murder. So I did have this prejudgment of her, but I know nothing about her life. I don't know what she did before. I think they said she was a professor in a college or work in finance. I really don't know anything about her, but I learned how to admire her. And I think she would be a great lawyer if she's looking for a new career path, because she was very present and very sharp on her trial. She knew things, she pointed out things, she remembered things. I think she was a great help to the lawyers, and I admire her for that.
Yeah, her lawyers have said the same. What do you think of Judge Canoni?
Judge Canoni, she was pleasant to us, very kind. She made sure we are comfortable. We had our needs met. She was flexible because sometimes we had our lives and we have commitments that we couldn't cancel. So some people are asking, this day the jury they left early. Why? Judge Canoni doesn't want to work. No, guys, sometimes we just have appointments in a life. A juror has something to do that they can't cancel. It happens. And she was flexible to accommodate our needs. She was open to explain what we need when we were in the deliberation room with the questions. I have no complaints about Judge Canoni.
And did you get the feeling that she was favoring one side or the other? Or did you get any sort of vibe that she wanted one side to win and not the other?
I'm avoiding the word favored because I can't say. I felt there was more objections being allowed in the defense witness. So Alan Jackson, I think he was the lawyer, he would object something and she will allow all the time for Brennan. And the opposite happened when was Jackson objecting and she would, I'm sorry, I'm saying the opposite. So when Jackson objected, she would allow. And when Brandon objected, she would sustained. So there was a moment, there was some witnesses that was hard to follow because there was so many objections from Mr. Brennan, and she was just allowing all of them.
Now there were
sustaining all of them. I'm sorry, I'm so confused.
No, that's okay. It's that way for everyone. But I get what you're saying, and what you're saying is, when the defense wanted something, it seemed like they didn't get what they wanted. When the prosecution wanted something, they seemed to get what they wanted a little more often. And that happens a lot.
Exactly. I couldn't use better words. Yes, that's what I meant. Thank you.
Okay. Who was the most effective lawyer in the courtroom? And for folks who don't know, you're a licensed lawyer in Brazil. And so you have a great background in all of this. So from your perspective, this I think is really valuable. Who did you feel was the most persuasive, the most effective lawyer in that courtroom?
But we hoped.
Persuasive, I'm going to give to Alan Jackson. The way he presents himself, the way his voice, his presence in court is incredible. So he's looking in the eyes and he will convince you and show you like his story perfectly. The lawyer I liked the most was Alessi, Mr. Alessi. I just think he was so knowledgeable, and all the technical witnesses that he had to cross and direct, and it was incredible to watch their work. Mr. Brandon, I think he did great cross-examining, much more than he did direct examining. So that was interesting.
Yes.
And then I think I heard he's a defense lawyer.
Right. He really is. He was a prosecutor. He's been a defense attorney for many years, and now he came in as a special prosecutor just for this case. What is your message for John O'Keefe's family?
Oh, the reason why I want to come out and speak to the press was because I want the family to know that we feel very sorry for their loss. I truly believe John was a great man. I believe he was a great uncle, son, brother, and his death was absolutely unnecessary. I don't know what happened to him. Nobody knows what really happened that night. But I truly believe that wasn't Karen Reed, and for that reason, we couldn't convict her. And please, I really hope you can reopen the case, the family can reopen the case somehow. I don't know how the system working very well. And they can find really what happened to John O'Keefe that night.
Let me ask you this.
Hi, Dave.
After this case, it's only been a couple days. So you watch this entire trial, you hear all the evidence, you deliberate for days, you return the verdict, you're done. Have you taken any time to research and find out some of the things that weren't permitted in front of you as jurors, to find out more about the story, more about the history, et cetera, of what happened here? Did you do that after the trial at all?
I didn't much. One thing I did, like after the verdict, we went to the deliberation room and I download an X account and I start to follow all the journalists who were there, because I know news go on this platform. I'm not very active on social media in general, but I wanted to go up there and see what they were talking about. But I read much more people's opinion and the news from the trial itself than about what happened on the first trial. But I really want to I really want to watch the first trial. I want to watch the documentary. I want to go on YouTube. I saw some YouTube videos of lawyers commenting on the case. But I didn't have time to check anything deeply serious, honestly.
Interesting. Do you know about Turtle Boy?
Turtle Boy, and now I know. So Turtle Boy When I moved to Massachusetts last year, I passed by some billboards, free
funny.
Karen Reed, which I didn't know what means.
She said
and
this
I
last
also
night.
saw some billboard or some loud signs saying free Turtle Boy. One time I remember driving through that and I saw a protest, free Turtle Boy. And I remember clearly thinking that's an environmental issue. That's someone maybe fighting for, I know, marine turtles. I really had no clue who he was. And during trial, we heard about a blogger. And then now in deliberation, some jurors comment that this blogger was in court. And then one thing leads to another. Now I know who Turtle Boy is.
Okay. Now here's a question I ask every juror after a trial. It should be really interesting because you understand another system of justice from where you practice down in Brazil. But what can our system of justice do better? And whether it's do better and to help jurors and to just help get to the truth. What can we do better?
Very hard question for me because up to now I wasn't involved with the legal system here at all. My first time hearing, understanding, learning some legal terms that I didn't know in English before was during this trial, and I think it worked great. This juror system we don't have is a bit different than in Brazil. But we represent the society. We represented what the community wanted, I believe. And I can't say what I would like to change, a suggestion I have for the system right now, because again, like I said, I don't practice law here. And for me, everything was very new. The legal system is new to me. I want to learn more. I'm excited now to learn more. But this trial, what stands up to me was the investigation. The investigation was floppy. Mm-hmm. The system itself, I have no criticism.
Well, Paula, this has been amazing getting this insight from you. I know you're exhausted, and we thank you so much. The folks who are watching at home, thank you as well. They've been so invested in this case, and we saw what happened, inside the courtroom, but now we understand much better how you got to that decision. Can you do me one favor? Because I know you've got 4 kids who miss their mom so much. For all of us at Court TV, give them a big, big hug tonight when you get back.
I will. Thank you so much. I'm happy I was part of the process. I'm happy I'm having the opportunity to talk about it, to, help people understand what was going on for us. And I really would like to ask people to look for reliable sources of news and what really happened. There is a lot of fake news, a lot of silly stuff going out there. So if you guys really care about John O'Keefe, let's focus and get justice for him.
Thank you so much, Paula Prado, juror number 11. Okay, folks, don't go anywhere. When we come back, something else you need to know tonight.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan investigates. Coming up.
Sorry, guys, I had to let my dog in. I didn't want her to be outside too long because we are in a heat wave today. So it was perfect timing, really. Thank you all who are just joining us for the first time. We are watching and going over as much media that people have spoken out since the weekend because I haven't gotten to watch any of it. Now, that was Juror 11. Oh, hello, Broken Baker. Good morning. Remember to, thank you. Thank you for the advice. Appreciate that, for the assist. So that juror 11, Paula, as I was saying earlier, that some of you might have missed, she was on Turtle Boy last night, way more relaxed. She's almost an interview professional now, I would say. She was very relaxed on the show, and she was on there for about 2.5 hours. And she answered even more questions. Some of the questions were the same with similar answers, but it's really fascinating to watch. So after we're all done here today, you should go watch Turtle Boy's interview last night with her. We do have a few more interviews with her, I think, from other news sources. So I don't know if we're going to learn anything new, but we're going to watch them anyway. And then, of course, Runkle of the Baileys interview with Alessi and Yannetti, which was freaking amazing. and fantastic. I loved it so much. All right, so what do we got next here? We got, it looks like Karen Reed's brother is speaking out to NBC 10 Boston about the verdict. So, oh, this is very short. This is like a whole 2 minutes. So that's nice. I think we only have like one other long one. I think that's also Juror 11 when she spoke out to Canton, Boston. But okay, so this is Karen Reed's brother speaks to NBC 10 Boston about the verdict. So let's see what he has to say.
Part from me is seeing my sister drag through the mud. That she did this when
Not very
we knew from
loud.
the beginning.
Hold on just a second. Let me make it a little louder for you guys real quick. Hopefully this is helpful.
Didn't.
6, he was by her side for the whole retrial. And now Karen Reed's brother, Nathan, is speaking out about the verdict. Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Darren Botello. So Nathan Reed is also discussing the impact this case had on his family and what's next. NBC 10's Jeff Saperstone has the exclusive one-on-one interview.
Guilty or not guilty? Not guilty.
What was your reaction on Wednesday when the verdict was read?
Elation. Yeah. Celebration.
Nathan Reed opening up days after his sister Karen was acquitted in the murder of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. He was in the courtroom when the not guilty verdict was read.
We heard the crowd just explode outside. It just reverberated through the building and through that courtroom. It's a sound and a feeling I will never forget.
Nathan sat down with NBC 10 Boston. He has been by his sister's side through both trials. What was the difference maker?
I think we ran a tighter case. And I think the Commonwealth did too, by the way.
He says a younger jury may have also helped this time around, but both cases capturing worldwide attention, something Nathan says he was surprised at first.
When social media got involved and when some of the YouTubers got involved, that really changed. And I think it also woke up this area both to mainstream media, but also to our supporters.
Nathan tells us the last 3.5 years have taken a toll.
The toughest part for me is seeing my sister drag through the mud. That she did this when we knew from the beginning she didn't.
Do you think you'll ever have answers as to what happened?
I question that. I struggle with that. I think our family has to make peace with the idea that we may never.
And while Wednesday's verdict was a relief for the Reed family, Nathan expressed sympathy for the O'Keefes.
Karen can be not guilty and factually innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And we can still feel for that family and what their losses are.
And as for what's next, Nathan says he doesn't think his sister will return to teaching or finance. He says life will be different.
So she's earned, in my opinion, whatever she wants to do. What she's going to do, I don't know. She, there's been a lot of hugs. There's been a lot of tears. Those emotions are coming out now. But we'll support her and we love her. And she's just relieved. And we're elated for that.
Jeff Saperstone, NBC 10 Boston.
Okay.
And you can find much more of our
there. That's what it's even though she was found not guilty, there are still going to be so many people that think she's guilty that like she's never going to be able to have a normal life. I mean, luckily she's free and can have whatever kind of life that she wants, but she's going to be I don't like the word celebrity, but kind of. I mean, look at how many other big trial people are, in a way, true crime celebrities. They don't ask to be. Believe you me, I'm pretty sure Karen would have liked for this to never have happened. So, she didn't ask for it, that's for sure. But, I think she's probably going to end up staying close to her parents because her parents are older. I don't think she's going to move away, but oh boy, I hope. Okay, so it's that one. And then, okay. I wish her the best. And it's so sad for John's family. I mean, John seems like a great guy, but you can't be pissed. The only people that can be pissed at is the cops and the Commonwealth. They didn't do a good job. They didn't get your police officer's son justice because they didn't do their freaking jobs. That's who they should be pissed about. I mean, they can still just not like Karen for their own reasons, but like, man, gosh. Oh, yes. People still think Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty. It's annoying. It is very annoying. Like, go watch the trial. It's very annoying. Or they'll say things and it's like, that's not even... What? Don't get me started on that one. Yes, we are going to watch the McAlbert's interview right after this 3-minute and 48-second one. And good morning, Linda. Good morning. Hope you're doing great today. Good morning. All right. So let's see. Next is the O'Keefe family didn't like the cheering when verdict was read. This is also, and oh, sorry, I didn't move it over for you guys. My bad. This is also by NBC Boston, and John Jackson, I think is who they're interviewing here. Oh, at 2:23. Just a second. Oh, this isn't very long. Oh, okay. So let's see what they have to say about this. Sorry, the other stuff's just filler. There's nobody talking, so I just skip over that part because we all know. Oh, good morning, Savage. Good morning. Hope you're doing great. Had a fun time chatting while we watched all the interview, the Runkle and Turtle Boy interview over in our Discord. That was fun. Okay, let's get to this one.
Outside the courthouse when the verdict was read.
It's been a tough day. Tough day for all of us. Anybody who followed the case and listened to all the evidence that was out there knows what really happened here. So, you respect this, you respect the process and the jury and the system, but I'm not happy about it.
The McAlbert and Roberts families released a joint statement saying, in part, today we mourn with John's family and lament the cruel reality that this prosecution was infected by lies and conspiracy theories. The result is a devastating miscarriage of justice. Obviously, this case has created deep division here in Canton, and people we spoke with here this morning say they're hoping now that the verdict is in, they can begin to heal. In Canton, Alicia Palumbo, NBC 10 Boston.
Okay, well, that was all of that guy's interview. That wasn't very much. And like, again, I get that you can't, well, all right. We'll just hold those thoughts because as you guys have been waiting for, the next one is the McAlberts, which I have not watched. I have not watched. I heard that I'm going to have probably a lot of things to say. So everybody's ready to brace yourself to hear what these people, because I'll say nice words, could possibly have to say. But okay. All right. Oh, I did the wrong thing again. Sorry, guys. I usually don't have this much stuff open in a row, so I'm getting a little jumbled. All right. Let's see what the McAlberts have to say. All right. Everybody breathe before we start. And exhale. Okay. Let me do the volume for you guys too. I don't know why. It's better on some than others, but okay, here we go.
The criminal justice system has let us down at every turn. And yesterday was the final letdown. And that's why we're here, because there's nobody left to stand up for us.
Think real long and hard before you're a witness in a case, because no one protects you. And it's very, very sad.
For the first time, some of the key players in the Karen Reed trial sitting down for an exclusive interview. His friend, Jennifer McCabe, and her husband, Matt, former Boston police sergeant, Brian Albert, and his wife, Nicole, and his brother, Chris Albert. All five of them pulled into the center of this high-profile case and now speaking out.
And I think the reason we all stayed quiet is because we were just witnesses. This is a thing that we had nothing to do with.
We did that civic duty, came and told the truth, and that's it.
Free Karen Reed! It's the case that has captivated the country and divided a town. Karen Reed, accused of killing.
They told I need to stop this more, and they're going to say a lot of things that annoy me. So Brian Albert says we came and told the truth. You did, if that's for the first trial, because guess what? Your asses weren't in the second trial. You know why your asses weren't in the second trial? Because of the joke testimony you gave in the first trial that made y'all look bad because you were all dodgy and weird about stuff. And then you're going to complain about the second trial that you didn't testify in because, again, I mean, I don't know this to be true, but I feel like it's because your testimony from the first one was garbage. and unusable, because you would never see that in any other trial. But okay, sound off, Brian. Okay, all right. Sorry, guys. I told you I'm going to get real heated about this one. This is annoying already. Just remember this guy on the screen. That's right. We'll just call him this guy, because apparently that's what his friends who knew him for decades called him. This guy, that guy, some guy. Never mention him by name in any of their texts or in their phone calls to 911. Sure. But yes, please tell us more about how you're the victims. Okay, let's go. Backside, yes.
Boston police officer boyfriend John O'Keefe hitting him with her SUV and leaving him to die in a blizzard.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Now, after a second trial, a jury acquitting her of the most serious charges, second-degree murder and manslaughter. And hundreds of supporters in pink, Karen Reed's favorite color, cheering as the verdict came down yesterday.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters.
People turned this thing into a tailgate party, it looked like, some days. Board games, cornhole, cookouts. This is a guy that was murdered. And it's atrocious for that family.
This is some guy who got murdered. Like, I understand that Brian and his wife weren't friends with John, but still at this point, some guy. Why do they keep saying this? And then be like, I don't know why people keep responding us to the way that they do. I don't know why that keeps happening. Okay.
While the prosecutors blamed Reed for O'Keefe's death, the defense said this group of family members framed Reed to cover up what really happened that night, ever since their lives becoming open season for endless conspiracy theories.
What they've done is they've dehumanized us to the sense where we're not real people. We're almost like caricatures. We're pawns.
Have each of you been called murderers? Like actual murderers?
Oh, yeah, on a daily.
You know what else is dehumanizing? When you call somebody you've known for years, who's a family friend, and you call him that guy, some guy, and you never say his name in your guys' own little text chains. Talk about dehumanizing. But okay, sure. Okay.
Basis.
Anybody who's touched this case has been called a murderer at some point.
And anyone who's friends with us support cop killers. Yeah.
After 3+ years, the saga wrapped up yesterday. Reed captured celebrating at dinner with her father, and today seen walking with her attorney, Alan Jackson.
I didn't even know I'd be here today, so I had no plans.
Meanwhile, O'Keefe's family and friends struggling with the verdict.
I'm just sad for John's family and what happened yesterday, and I feel like they didn't get justice for him, and our lives just changed forever.
Why speak out now after the verdict?
We took what we thought was the high road.
Right.
Let the court do its job.
Oh.
After a night of
We let the court do its job, and now we're pissed about it because it still makes us look bad. Isn't one of the Albert brothers a detective at the Canton Police Department? You know, the people that first responded and did such a shitty job investigating that they had no case to take to court. And you said, oh, let's just let court do its job. Wasn't your brother part of Canton PD before the MSP took over? But, you know, the real problem with this whole investigation, it's not their fault, you guys. No. They're just victims. They're just normal people, guys.
Hanging out at a local bar in a brutal 2022 blizzard, Brian and his wife Nicole hosted a late-night gathering at their home. An invitation had been extended to Reed and O'Keefe, but Brian Albert says neither of them ever entered his home that night. O'Keefe was found lying unconscious in the snow of Albert's front lawn. He was pronounced dead at the hospital hours later. The defense's theory? A violent
I need to rewind this for 30 seconds. Did I just hear what I think about? Did they just say they went out drinking like in a bad blizzard or something? Is that what they just said?
That night. O'Keefe was found lying unconscious and had been extended to Reed. After a night of hanging out at a local bar in a brutal 2022 blizzard, Brian...
A brutal 2022 blizzard. at midnight. Sir, there wasn't even an inch of snow on the ground at 1:30 in the morning. The blizzard did not happen until well, it happened in the morning, but the big part of it, the brutal part of it, was at 1 in the afternoon. All right, not a brutal blizzard when they're at the bar. Let's not go into their narrative where it was snowing so much and it was dark, even though they live in freaking Massachusetts, and it was nothing. It was literally nothing. Okay. You guys were so right. This does annoy me. I'm so annoyed. Look at him just being like, oh, the host, oh, it's a brutal blizzard. No, a meteorologist took the stand and said the opposite. Thank you very much. Watch the trial before you do an interview with these people. Sorry. Hello, new people. I'm usually not this angry. They'll tell you, I'm usually not this angry. Okay.
Brian and his wife, Nicole, hosted a late-night gathering at their home. An invitation had been extended to Reed and O'Keefe, but Brian Albert says neither of them ever entered his home that night. O'Keefe was found lying unconscious in the snow of Albert's front lawn. He was pronounced dead at the hospital hours later. The defense's theory? A violent altercation at the Alberts' home, possibly involving other members of law enforcement.
Did John ever come in the house?
Never. No.
You never saw John O'Keefe in the house, right?
Never.
Never.
These are people in your own community who believe the conspiracy theories, who believe that there were other law enforcement officials and agents involved in this. Why is it people in your own community who believe these conspiracy theories?
You do realize for this conspiracy to be true, it would take 30 to 50 people.
Bullshit.
You'd have to have multiple cops on 2 different police departments, multiple civilians,
information
the medical examiner, firemen, EMTs, you name it. That's how preposterous and silly this is. And great question. I don't understand how people bought this.
Brian Albert says he and Nicole only found out about John's death when Jen McCabe, who is Nicole's sister, barged into their bedroom.
She was just upset, and I immediately thought something had happened to one of her children or one of my children, because why else is she in my bedroom at 6:30 in the morning right now?
And what did she tell you?
She said, John's out front. I think John's dead out front. I said, what the are you talking about, Jen? And I'm like, who? I didn't know.
You still didn't piece it
I
together.
didn't understand what she was talking about, because why would John be out front of my house?
So massively confusing.
Yes.
There are police officers, EMTs on your front lawn.
Look who's joining
You're
me.
an officer.
Hello, Terry Trevor.
Why don't you just go outside and investigate or take a look?
I'm not a Canton police officer. I'm a Boston police officer. I was just woken up out of a cold sleep from hanging out the night before. By the time I came downstairs, the police were already in my house. John was already gone. There was nobody to save. I would have taken a bullet for John O'Keefe because he was a fellow cop. That's the most ridiculous question that people always ask.
What? You would have taken a bullet for an officer that you didn't know. Some guy, you guys keep calling some guy, but you just said, well, I'm just the Boston cop. What am I supposed to do with the dead guy on my lawn? You take a bullet for him, but you wouldn't stand outside making sure and protecting the scene so that investigators can come there and do their actual job. Are you kidding me, sir? Hi, Terry.
You are fired up today.
These people are annoying. Look, this is BS. We all watch the trial, all right? They can be not happy about the verdict, sure, but all they're doing is straight up misconstruing facts and then taking the Jen McCabe card. We're just normal people. We don't know why this is happening to us, even though we're the dodgiest witnesses I've ever seen in a trial ever. And they're like, I don't know why people don't like us. You're trying too hard is all I'm saying. Trying too hard. That it's they are the most suspicious people.
Yeah, I don't believe anything they say.
Why would they do this interview?
Because they believe what they say.
Because none of them except for Jen was called in the second trial.
I know.
Literally none of them. Why would you come back on to?
I wouldn't. I would just go away.
And we had all these butt dials, but you guys, we don't know what happened. we're just normal people who butt dial people like 35 times between the four of us in an hour and a half. Like normal people do, apparently, in Canton. I don't know.
Yep.
But I don't know why everyone's so suspicious of us and thinking there's a conspiracy. That sounds crazy. That cops would do a whole conspiracy to frame somebody for a murder? That's never happened before. Why would people think that? That would be so hard to do. Get out of here. You are an officer. Don't play stupid. Sorry, I do not like people that just play stupid.
I think these people just need to go away and shut their mouth because they're just making themselves look even worse.
Yes.
And I think giving opportunity for somebody to come back and investigate them.
I mean, this is how bad they are. The only person, which I think they were very reluctant to bring Jen McCabe for the second trial. I don't think they wanted to, but she was the lesser of two evils.
Agreed.
But the other ones, these are just supposed to be people at the house, not involved in any way. And their testimony was such shit that they couldn't ask them to come back in for another trial, which you never see. And if they think this is normal, and especially Mr. Brian Albert, who is an officer or was an officer, who's been to court numerous times, is this just all the court you're used to? Is this kind of stuff? Because if so, guess what, buddy? We got a lot more investigation we need to look into to the cases you've been in for court, because I have questions.
Agreed.
Anyway, I'm so happy you're here and you're feeling better. I've missed you. I haven't seen you in like a week.
I know. I was like, I only popped on because I missed everybody so much. I put makeup on just for that.
You're really here for my rants, I know it.
I did. I was listening to you. I was like, girl, she is fired up.
I don't like these people.
I don't either. And I was like, instead of yelling at my computer screen while also trying to catch up on work, I was like, I'm going to pop in and say hi because I really missed everybody. It's shocking to realize how fast you can miss everybody. It feels like it's been months.
That's what I said this morning, and it was a whole 2 days.
Dave, I'm down to 5. So
Yay.
I'm feeling better. Not out of the woods yet, but better.
Well, good. I'm glad you're here to enjoy.
But your rant is what I needed.
Good.
Your rant is what I needed. And I need these people to just disappear.
I don't appreciate people lying.
I mean, I hope
being dodgy.
They are putting themselves in the line of being investigated.
That's what I hope so too.
I mean, that's
go
what
ahead.
I hope.
Keep talking out, because I'm gonna find everything you say and I'm gonna rant about it, because the Alberts sold their house, her childhood home, months later. Like, who does that? Their dog. They don't give a shit about their dog.
No, I
don't have opinions about what's his name, Chris Albert. I don't know anything about that.
And Dave, I am drinking lots of water. I'm out of cranberry juice. I have to go get some, but I am drinking lots of water.
Ugh. Chloe Albert's revenge. They're making Scott Peterson look like the most sympathetic creeping husband.
And that, I mean, they almost act like they were the ones on the stands.
They
like
act
being
like
charged.
Yes. I mean,
they are acting so entitled and so
like we were just witnesses to a case. We shouldn't be treated like this. And you're right. But
you'll take a bullet, but you won't get out of bed.
Right. And you act like freaking crazy people when you're on the stand. You don't even act normal. None of you. We're just witnesses, guys. We're just normal witnesses. Oh my God. I just feel like, you know what? You gave so much shit about John O'Keefe. Why are you doing this? Taking away attention.
And why do they keep referring to him as like that guy and stuff?
I don't know. Brian would take a bullet for him. It's fine.
I have to tell you, even like my neighbors to the left of me, I know their names. We say hi and stuff. But even if something like this happened to them, I wouldn't call them that guy or that lady. I would use their names and we're not what you would call friends with them. I wouldn't even call acquaintances. We're neighbors.
Anyway. All right, we got like 2 minutes left. All right. Oh gosh, I gotta go pee real bad, but I'll wait until the next video. Too fired up to leave. Okay.
I'm going to stay for these guys, and then I'm going to go try to catch up.
Okay.
Ask. It makes zero sense. What am I supposed to do? Run out front my underwear and start running? That's the most ridiculous question that people always ask. It makes zero sense. What am I supposed to do? Run out front my underwear and start running yellow tape around the fire hydrant?
Over the course of the night, Reed called and texted John 52 times.
Brian Albert. Yes. That is a normal person who's a cop.
And I'm not even a cop.
Exactly. But you're a cop, sir. You are a cop. You are a first responder. And here you are saying, well, I didn't know. What was I supposed to do? I don't know. After you just said you take a bullet for this guy, and you're like, I'm supposed to put on pants and go outside in a brutal blizzard of 2022?
I'm going to just say, with a friend or acquaintance like this, you need to reevaluate your. This person is not a friend or an acquaintance.
I mean, I wouldn't expect, obviously, I wouldn't expect him to start investigating.
No.
He's a Boston PD cop. Like, there is jurisdiction
But you would still say, hey, guys, this is a crime scene. Stay off the yard. Yes. You would at least try to do that. I would like go grab something, like even if it was flower pots, and mark a space with flower pots and say, nobody go past the flower pot signs.
Yeah, or talk to the other first responders that are there in some, because remember, in the trial at this point, nobody wants to say that John was dead. Okay, we don't find out till later. You know what Brian didn't say? I wish I would have gone outside to help. I know, but he'd take a bullet for him though, Shannon. But he can't be bothered to put on pants.
Yeah.
He'd rather take a bullet than put on pants. And wouldn't you want to know about the dead guy in your freaking front yard?
Yeah.
And you're just acting like, yeah, this happens all the time. Why would I be bothered by it? I don't know. And you wonder why people think you guys are suspicious because you say non-normal people things constantly.
I think they are just setting themselves to be investigated because they are doing so much to try to distance themselves.
Yes.
I think Chloe, Albert's Revenge, said it. They're distancing themselves. That is a sign of guilt. Not saying they did it, but they know something. That is a sign of guilt.
Yeah, and all their business afterwards being shady and shit.
Yeah.
Get out of here. You guys want to know better.
You would think.
I mean, it's either you guys are all liars who lie, or you're the dumbest freaking people who have jobs where maybe you weren't qualified to actually do that job. If you can't put on pants
to go outside
because there's a dead body on your yard, maybe you shouldn't have been a cop for however many years you were.
I would go outside in my underwear. If there was a dead person in my front yard, I would try to grab a robe and put it on as I was going outside, or maybe grab some pants as I was going outside, but I would go outside.
I mean, me and Elbow Feet will be by the window when we hear neighbor drama going outside. He'll just go out in the front yard and just stand there when some neighbor drama is going on outside. You're going to tell me that you're like, yeah, it's whatever.
I've watered the front yard naked before after taking Lunesta, so I guess it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Oh my God, these people are the worst.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate these people. Okay. Go back again because I can't. Just when you think people couldn't say stupider things, they do.
They do.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Night, Reed called and texted John 52 times. She then called Jen asking for help to find John. Karen previously telling me she and John had gotten into an argument that night.
Would you say that you were angry with John that night?
Yes.
Could you have been angry enough and slightly drunk because he had annoyed you, that in a fit of rage you just backed up and
Never.
tried to tap him.
Would
Not
never
to try to kill him, but try to
tap him with my 6,000-pound full-size SUV, to hit John's body with my car. No.
I spoke with a juror tonight who told me she believes a collision did not occur.
Overall, a lot of the evidence had caused reasonable doubt, and that was enough for us not to convict.
A little after 6 a.m., Karen found John's body in the snow. Jen called 911.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a man passed out in the snow.
A man.
Hello?
But what raised eyebrows at Reed's trial was a defense theory about a Google search Jen had made about how long it takes to die in the cold. The defense claiming she searched it before O'Keefe's body was found.
So much has been made about that Google search that morning. Was it at 6 a.m. or was it at 6:27 a.m.? How long to die in the cold? What's your answer?
She asked me to do it at outside of Fairview at 6:20, whatever it was. Doesn't matter how much I say about it, people will not believe it.
The group also hoping to clear up rumors regarding the Albert's dog, Chloe, who had been rehomed after the incident. The defense claimed the dog was involved in O'Keefe's death.
Those wounds were inflicted as the result of a dog attack. Those marks are from teeth.
They've known for 2 years where Chloe is. The state shared it with them.
So if they wanted to take DNA evidence from Chloe the dog and match it to possible DNA evidence on John O'Keefe, they could have matched.
Absolutely.
But now with the trial behind them, they say they're still faced with threats against them and their families, but hope to continue calling this community their home.
You get down, you get depressed, and it's like, but this is the town we grew up in. We didn't do anything wrong. We all contributed to our town. We love our town. Why should we have to go anywhere?
Okay. Hey, Terry, why don't you share your thoughts with that real quick? Go to the bathroom. Please.
I can't with these. I mean, I do not condone anyone terrorizing their children or them. You can say what you want to say, but they should not be threatened. Their lives should not be threatened. People should not be showing up their home. People should not be doing any of that. That I don't agree with. Now, if you want to sit here and talk crap about their interviews that they put out to the public, I'm here for it. But I am not okay with anybody bullying anyone, whether we agree with them or not. We should not do that. Now, Carrie, we all know, or those who've seen me talk about her, this woman is lying through her teeth. And my biggest question, I still want to know, I want to know why she talked John's mom out of sending the niece to that private school that she had just gotten into and that John and her were so excited about. I want to know why she stepped in and made it her business. To me, she seems like a busy body, in my opinion. And I get the Alberts think they want to stay in Canton. You know, that's up to Canton. They have to live in that community. I am sure the people that are their friends that are stuck by them through this will still stick by them. I personally think anything that happens in a small area like that gets this much media, it's going to be hard to live there. Linda, anyone who believes that How Long to Die in the Snow search didn't happen at 2 a.m. needs some education. Exactly. But they were able to do that with amateurs, because you got to think, not everybody's into true crime. Not everybody is into technology. They don't know how that stuff works. You usually don't know until there's a reason. But back to the Alberts, I think the Alberts need to really do some inner soul searching and think about the fact that they've lied. It's obvious they've lied. They keep putting themselves out there, and they need to stop. They were not part of the second trial. So why are you out doing the interview circuit? Carrie, I get it. It, to me, seems very narcissistic and almost like they're hoping all of this attention will keep them from being investigated, maybe. I don't know. I just have a lot of problems with their doing that. They want to say they're a friend, but yet they keep saying that guy. Okay, that guy, you're distancing yourself, or he really wasn't a friend. And if he really wasn't a friend or a close enough acquaintance, why were you inviting him to your house? Why was Carrie trying to get Karen to leave with her? There are so many things that we are never going to know. Never going to know. So the Alberts, if they want to stay living in Canton, they need to stop doing interviews. And they just need to kind of back away, is my thought.
That, and they just need to also accept that it's a lot of their weird, shitty behavior that also made it difficult to convict Karen Reed. Your guys' numerous butt dials, all getting rid of your phones, your suspicious communication.
If she do it, they set her up to get away with it.
Yeah, take some freaking responsibility, McAlberts.
Yeah.
Maybe if people stop. Now, by the way, I do not agree with harassing these people.
That's what I said.
Don't agree with it.
I don't believe with that.
But also, stop giving interviews.
So I want to know why I mentioned that Carrie talked John's mom into not sending the niece to that private school. Someone's saying that Karen was going to pay for the tuition. But why would she pay for the tuition if the relationship was coming to an end, or if she didn't want to be the mom? So I don't know about that, but
I don't think that their relationship really was coming to, or at least for Karen.
I don't think it was coming to an end as far as breaking up, but I don't see her moving in full time. I didn't see, I don't think she wanted to be a full-time mom.
Well, John had a problem with her relationship with the kids.
He did. He thought she was too.
You know, so I could see, though, you know, she is a very smart, independent, successful, sexy, right? Oh, my Freudian slip. I mean, Karen is very, very beautiful.
I'm like, okay, tell us what you're really thinking.
No, she's a very educated professional woman that I think takes education very seriously.
Agree.
That she could have offered to help pay for that.
Because she wanted to give her that chance.
Yeah, because that's, you can tell, like, she was a professor as well. Like, that's a priority.
Education is priority to her.
So I could see her doing that. I mean, maybe not full, but contributing. Sure. I think she had the income to do so.
And I can see where she would no longer want to do it when y'all are accusing her of killing him.
Yeah.
So.
And you know what's funny too is oh, they're all like, why would we ever do this? We didn't kill anybody. Nobody's saying you killed anybody. I'm not. I don't think any of you killed him. You know who I think it was? I think it's Brian Higgins.
I don't think they did, but I think the fact that they're distancing themselves means they know.
Yeah, because let's not forget, he was friends with John. Brian Albert wasn't, but Brian Higgins was. And oh, that's right. He had spent the whole month before trying to bang his girl of his friend, because they're the shittiest friends on the planet.
Yeah. Like I said, they need to look up what friends are, the definition.
These people are just, you guys, if you're new here, I promise I'm not usually this angry and fired up, but this is.
That's why I jumped on, you know, looking like this, still not looking great, but I was like, oh, she's fired up. I need a piece of that because I love it. But, and I want to say, if anybody should not be bullying or threaten the Alberts.
Yeah, or the jurors or anything. It's disgusting.
Or the jurors, but especially not the children.
Mm-hmm.
You should not be doing any of that. Now, if you want to respond on posts where they do interviews and say how ridiculous they are, that I'm okay with because they put it out there. But bullying, going by their house, doing that is absolutely wrong.
And weird. And weird. Also not normal behavior and weird.
It's not.
You're also on the weird, unnormal side like they are. So I'm going to judge you if you do that. But these guys are something else.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you guys get back to it. I will be watching and yelling.
If they weren't going to testify in this trial, well, this might be a question. I didn't ask this earlier. So I think they were on the witness list.
They were.
So they couldn't have been in the courtroom because they were under sequester, right? Okay. Sequestration or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Okay. But, you know, the McAlberts, aren't you something? Nobody believes you.
I know.
Literally nobody believes you about anything you say because you're weird and it's not normal.
Well, I'm excited to watch all the interviews because of being down. I haven't seen any of them. So I am going to go be a lurker in the background and try to get some work done.
Okay. That sounds good. You know where I'll
Bye,
be.
guys. I will see you in the background.
Thanks for joining us, Terry.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Bye. So before we get into our other interviews, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4 videos left, some things to read, but I do have some statements. She's very Sphinx us when no one's looking. Shh, don't tell everybody. So there's also been statements made by other groups, and this one gets me. I'm going to read this to you. This is a statement put out from the Massachusetts State Police following the conclusion of the Commonwealth versus Karen Read. They say, the Massachusetts State Police extends its sincere condolences to the loved ones of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. The events of the last 3 years have challenged our department to thoroughly review our actions and take concrete steps to deliver advanced investigative training, ensure appropriate oversight, and enhance accountability. Under my direction as colonel, the state police has and will continue to improve in these regards. Our focus remains on delivering excellent police services that reflect the value of professionalism and maintain public trust. And that was a quote from Colonel Jeffrey with a G Noble. You know what they don't say, which is so weird, that they're gonna reopen the case and take another look and see if they can get justice for John. They're not going to do that. They didn't even mention any of that. And like the investigation done by this Massachusetts State Police, not just Proctor, was a joke. Was a joke. How are we supposed to take you seriously when all those people still have freaking jobs, except for Proctor? You're not even going to look into it again? No, his case is just going to sit there because, oh, that's right. Law enforcement and the state usually doesn't like to admit when they were wrong the whole time. It makes them look bad. I don't expect there's going to be anything, any answers of what could have actually happened to John. And that is sad. That is so, so sad. Ugh. Anyway, so that's annoying. This is just, let Llama just read stuff she's found really annoying. Because I'm sorry, but I don't think you should have said anything at all. Because again, you guys did a shitty investigation. And that their methods of investigation would have kept going and continuing on the path they were on unless the freaking federal government got involved and was like, yo, what you guys are doing is bad, real bad, that we're going to have to do an entire investigation, hire ARCA people, fire Michael Proctor. You guys are telling me that you guys thought this was all fine and dandy for how many years until a spotlight was put on you. But you're going to try better now, you guys. Yeah, you're going to try better until the magnifying glass is taken off you, I bet. Just saying. Anyway, these people, it just makes me angry. It makes me angry. Because again, this was a death of a police officer. And this is how they treated it. You're telling me that they do well for civilian people like you and me? Nope. You saying that they wouldn't investigate our houses if it was us who had a dead cop on our lawn? Get out of here. All right, so this was a post from the town of Canton by, who's this by? It looks like, it's a statement from Canton Select Board Chair John McAlbert. That's a fun last name, McAlbert. So let's see what the Canton Select Board, isn't that what one of the Albert brothers serves on? Maybe not. Oh, no, I haven't. I'm much too shy to do, to do that. But thanks for this. You can put in a good word somewhere, but I don't know. I'd be very intimidated by all of them. But thank you for thinking that. I appreciate it. Okay, so a statement from Canton Select Board Chair John McCourt. The town of Canton acknowledges today's verdict in the Commonwealth's case against Karen Reed, and the town respects the legal process and the role of the jury in weighing the facts and rendering a verdict. We thank the members of the jury for their service and attention over the past several weeks. This case has been the subject of intense public interest, scrutiny, and speculation for 3 years. Our community has been deeply affected. I wonder why. Shenanigans. Today's outcome may bring a sense of relief for some and continue to raise questions for others. We encourage members of the community to move forward together, treating one another with respect through civil, constructive dialogue. Well, I hope that the people in Canton, Massachusetts start raising some hell. That's what I hope happens. They need to raise hell about where their money's being spent, who's getting away with what, and tell them that they're not going to tolerate these shenanigans anymore. This is the whole country has sat and watched how things operate. And you know what? Different places do different things. Jurisdictions are all different. Every county, they're all different. But we all watched a whole trial, some of you too. I only watched the second one, by the way. I saw parts of the first one on our days off. But other officers, lawyers, normal people like you and me, we're just watching this and being like, this isn't right. This is not right at all. The way that the judge handled things, the rules that they had to do. It was weird. It was weird. I mean, it's not where I live, so I'm just saying, though, I feel like somebody needs to raise some hell, but they spent $400,000 on Aperture. That is outrageous. And I hope the people there are demanding answers because, they don't even allow dialogue at their council meetings? Go figure. More people just saying words, and they ain't going to do nothing to fix or change anything. That means the people are going to need to fix and change stuff. That's why all the attention on Karen Reed. I said this the whole time we were watching trial. Like, this isn't just happening to Karen Reed. This is happening to other people across the country as well. I've watched a lot of trials. I've never watched one quite like this. But Karen's lucky that she had the defense team she had. She's lucky that for a while she had the financial resources. If it was someone like you or me, and they were accusing you of hitting a cop, we'd never even get bail. Just saying. Just saying. These people are living in like some fantasy land, and it's wild. All right, so this is a statement. Oh, God. It's from the McAlberts. I probably should have read this before the video, but whatever. This was the order that my staff posted stuff for me, so here we are. Corrupt. Yes, that's the word of the day. I mean, I got corrupt stuff where I live too. Everybody does, but this is wild. All right, so shortly after the verdict was announced, a statement was released by several people involved in the case who are also friends of the O'Keefe family. I probably would stop using the word friends because it was those friends that caused some problems, but okay. So this statement was issued. So this was like right after the verdict, by the way. The statement was issued on behalf of Jennifer McCabe, Matt McCabe, Chris Albert, Julie Albert, Colin Albert, Nicole Albert, Brian Albert, Carrie Roberts, and Kurt Roberts. Oh, still so weird. Only 2 of those people who did nothing wrong and acted completely normally didn't testify in the second trial. Today, our hearts are with John and the entire O'Keefe family. They have suffered through so much and deserve better from our justice system. I mean, yes, they deserve better from the investigators in the Commonwealth. Maybe if they didn't want to scapegoat Karen Reed and actually investigated, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But somebody helped focus the investigation on the one person. While we may have more to say in the future, they do, we just listen to it. Today, we mourn with John's family and lament the cruel reality that this prosecution was infected by lies and conspiracy theories spread by Karen Reed, her defense team, and some in the media. The result is a devastating miscarriage of justice. Again, what are you guys bringing to the table? Show me your facts. Show me your evidence that the Commonwealth, who spent millions of dollars to prosecute Karen Reed, and you're saying, oh, no, this is all bullshit, made up. God, I hate these people. I do not like them. I do not like them one bit. All right. Let's... Angie. I didn't know this was going to make me this fired up. Maybe I should start looking at things before I go live. I haven't looked at any of this stuff until today. Yeah, that's rant 13 apparently. All right, so what I got next, I'm going to read to you guys because, again, we're just going down this list so I don't get out of order on things. So what I have next to read to you guys is an interview with the jury foreman and the Boston Globe. And if I remember, the jury foreman, Bev, picked juror 1, which apparently is just a common thing she does. That's not suspicious. I mean, I think it's weird when judges pick the foreman. That does happen in some jurisdictions, but usually doesn't. I think it's weird. But if I remember right, he was like a middle-aged black guy who didn't take notes, though I've heard he actually has an excellent memory. That's what Juror 11 Paula said yesterday on Turtle Boy. She was like, he had a perfect memory of everything, which was very interesting. But if I remember right, that's who the jury foreman is. I don't know if they mention his name because I haven't opened it yet. So maybe we'll learn his name. Okay. All right. So this is from the Boston Herald. Okay. So it says juror number 1, the foreman in the Karen Reed trial, told the Herald there was no aha moment in the grueling case that he said wasted the taxpayers' money on paper-thin evidence that failed to bring any comfort to the victim's family. No need to say any more, sir. No need to say any more. You're absolutely freaking right. It's embarrassing. I said before, think of where all that money could have went for other cases. Instead of the money that was spent was really just to cover the police in the state's ass, but okay. The unforgivable fact that investigators didn't swarm the house at the murder scene on 34 Fairview Road in Canton during a nor'easter was shoddy work and a blatant red flag, the foreman added. That's why the only guilty finding was drunk driving. Quote, if that body was on my front steps, I know my house would have been stormed. The juror, who is black and grew up in Jamaica Plain, said. He is definitely right about that. The text from Trooper Proctor, the bitch and C word, also showed a serious bias. Yet, I had to put my personal opinion aside. It all seemed like a lot of wishy-washy privilege, the foreman said. That's exactly how I would describe the McAlberts. We had to look at the evidence, and a lot of it didn't make sense. There was no meat, no aha moment. No one proved there was a collision, even with all that jargon, and all the jurors agreed. The juror who asked that his name not be revealed spoke with the Herald by telephone late Friday afternoon along with his wife. Oh. The couple has 3 children, and they have come painfully close to crimes before. The juror said he knew both. Oh, man, I can't see their names right. Dzhokhar Zarnev. Oh, they're the Boston bomber brothers. Remember them? I'm not even going to try. It's been a few years, and I forget how they even say it. Who detonated 2 bombs at the finish line of the Boston Marathon in April of 2013, and bombing victim 8-year-old Martin Richard. Oh. Plus, his wife was working at MIT. The night campus cop was working at MIT. The night campus cop Sean Collier was executed by the brothers, who would soon engage in a deadly firefight with police in nearby Watertown that ultimately ended in one brother's death and the other's capture. Holy crap. These people have just been like friggin' everywhere. That's wild. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to leave like 13 on the screen. I'm looking at my other screen, so I can't look at both places in the same time. All right, so his wife took a train home, adding any trouble. The juror said he works with at-risk youth in Dorchester and met with one of the bomber guys and the young Martin Richard kid while working at a charter school in the city. We said, of course. I was then picked for the Karen Reed jury. The couple added together over the phone, sharing in the irony. Okay, sorry, that was like cut up and I had to guess. Oh, look at you giving me Dzhokhar Zarnev. I appreciate the assist. I appreciate it. But I don't know if that's going to happen. The juror said he's still struggling with the whirlwind case and the times he'd gaze over at victim John O'Keefe's mother, who would wipe away tears when images were shown of the Boston police officer with his head split open. Still, he added the jury couldn't lock up Reed, the officer's girlfriend, on the measly evidence presented. The foreman added that the jury announcement of a verdict on Wednesday that was suddenly pulled back was over one male juror who had doubts. At lunch, I asked the juror, "Are you okay? Do you think I can take back my vote?" he asked. Others jurors got a little nervous, the foreman added, but 20 minutes later, he said, "Okay, guilty of OUI." I mean, I don't think I probably would have been like, no, I don't think she actually got that either, because the blood math is my reason. I mean, she said yeah, but anyway, doesn't matter in my opinion. Anyway, it was the only charge they agreed on and the only clear evidence, without a doubt, the foreman added. We only went with what was put in front of us, he said, of the panel, which was 7 women and 5 men. I'm still asking, where is the justice for John? Another juror, speaking out after the verdict, says she is disgusted by how much taxpayer money the Commonwealth has poured into the case and how O'Keefe's family is still seeking for justice. Yeah, that's what I think too. I'd be pissed. Because what are they going to, I mean, even if they open the case again, the investigation was so bad, I don't even know if they're going to be able to solve anything from it. Oh, it just makes me so angry. All right, so that's enough reading of that. Let's get into another interview. This is, again, with Juror 11, Paula. This one is with, it's with Sue O'Connor, Sue O, from NBC 10 Boston. Lady in Gray, one of our lovely mods, was giving us X updates by Sue O, who is in the courtroom, updates about the jury and stuff, and really appreciated your updates, Sue. Big fan. Thanks. But it looks like she interviewed Juror 11. So let's see that. And this one's kind of long. This is like 30 minutes, you guys. So at least it's not the stupid McAlberts. At least this is going to make some sense. Finally, somebody making some sense. All right. Doop. Okay, let's do that. Oh, why didn't? Oh, I know what I'm doing. Okay, let me put the volume booster up for you guys too. All right, let's see if she gives any new insight with this interview with Sue O'Connell from Boston 10.
To be on the jury when you went to your voir
Oh,
dire
that's what she looked. I didn't know what she looked
selection,
like.
and they picked you to be on this jury. How did you feel?
When I was in the room, when I received the letter, I actually liked the idea because I never been a juror before. I wanted to know how the process is. For me, it was like a 1-2 day thing. It's going to be fun to do it. When the judge said, oh, it might take 8 weeks, I was like, wow, I hope I'm not selected. And once I was selected, I had to run. All I could think was the logistics of everything. So I just want to run home and make phone calls to arrange everything. But I was excited. I was happy to be part of the process. I had no clue it was that big. It was a mediatic case. I had no clue to get a lot of attention. But I did like the idea of being part of something that big and important.
Can you tell me what you knew about the case? Of course, the understanding is that you don't have to be ignorant of the case. You just have to not have an opinion formed, right? And be open-minded and evaluate the evidence in the courtroom. So what did you know about the Karen Reed case before you started hearing evidence?
I know she had a billboard on Route 1. Every time I go grocery shop, I see Free Karen Reed. That's all I knew about her and her name. I also saw some lounge that has signs Free Karen Reed, but didn't strike me to go search and understand what it was. So I had no clue what crime or what she did, who she was, who John was, nothing. I really didn't know. And I never heard about those supporters, the big crowd she has. I learned that the pink was her color like mid-trial. So I stopped wearing pink because I had a lot of pink shirts and I didn't want to give it the wrong vibe. I didn't really know. I don't watch local news. I don't watch television. I had a pause on social media, and whatever I have on social media, my X account is my last post is 2022. My Instagram post is last one was last year. So I just didn't have access to what was going on here. I'm more interested in international news, Brazilian news, and that was it.
Can we talk about your background a little bit? Because I called you the expressive juror because the jurors I thought generally were very stoic, took a lot of notes, a lot of heads down. You took a lot of notes. But as the trial went on, your expressions became a little bit more obvious. I know that you were controlling them because
I make the worst faces.
I also couldn't read what you were reacting to.
Bev would yell at me.
Sometimes you'd have the same look going back and forth between the lawyer and the witness. Can you talk about your background a little bit?
Yes, I have a law degree from Brazil. I'm licensed to work in Brazil. I graduated in 2010. And then right after, a year and a half after, I moved to the States to study, to learn English. I didn't know any English before I got here. And I never worked again as a lawyer. I just help some colleagues I have in Brazil with some cases. Sometimes I can do a petition from here. I still know how to write and think like a lawyer. And I also have an MBA in marketing because my life is here now and I want to do something professionally after my kids grow a little bit. So I combine marketing with my law degree, and I work with the Brazilian law offices to do the digital marketing, the social media, and those things. Another reason why I was involved with the social media, but all in Brazil. Everything I saw was all in Brazil, was never here.
When you reached out to me, you indicated that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I don't remember exactly, but it was surprising to you what people were thinking about the case after you were able to plug back in to the world about the case. What are some of the misconceptions you think people out there have that you've seen? And is there anything that they're getting right?
Some people got things right. I reached out to you because I thought you had a good impression of us. I choose the journalists I want to talk to. More people came on away, but I didn't have a chance to look to all the media and all the news about us, I just look on X, and I start, as soon as we get back in the room after we give the verdict, I just open my X account, old, and I start to following everybody. I didn't know your name. I didn't know anybody's name. So we start to, like, guessing who is this, who is that. And there was some misconception, misunderstanding. The jury sent a note to the judge asking her to stop objecting Brennan, or John O'Keefe's brother had to change seats because a jury complained.
Mm-hmm.
Or the jury, let me remember one more. The jury were uncomfortable with Paul O'Keefe. The jury sent a note to the judge. The last one, the jury already know everything. They just are hanging on the second-degree murder. That's never happened.
Oh, I
inside
knew
the
they weren't gonna get
deliberation,
that.
but some reporter said that. Like, how do you know? You don't know. Oh, the juror is my cousin. He said X, Y, and Z. No, your cousin wasn't there. So I read a lot of this.
And you felt like you wanted to just get the record straight, that your experience as a juror did not match what was happening on social media.
No, we never sent a note to the judge before the deliberation. We never complain. We are a very happy group of people, fulfilling our duty, and that's it.
So I know that I kept posting that it's very different watching the trial and then being in the courtroom. Very different experience. So people would react to the judge's heavy size or a witness's heavy size, which I know you didn't hear because I didn't hear, and there's no amplification in the courtroom. But one thing people, and I think that I went ahead and projected onto you, plural, ustedes, that there was some growing frustration with the number of sidebars toward the end of the trial. Because at one point I thought the judge said, this will be quick, and you all laughed. Like, yeah, tell us about it. Were you just patient with it, knew that this is the cost of being on a trial, or did it start to wear you down a little bit?
No, we didn't care about the sidebar at all. And we even said that to the judge when she came to talk to us after. The sidebar for us was a moment to stretch, to close our eyes, to clear our head. We didn't mind the sidebar. We laughed because was probably not true. That would be quickly. And all the time she apologized and everything. And we think it's funny to apologize. We know it's part of the process. We expect that to happen. I feel like sometimes judge or lawyers, they would talk to us like if we have no clue what a court process is, what the system is, what the legal system is. And we do, not just me, everybody does. We understand it's part of it. So we like the sidebars. And I can't speak for all of us. We like it.
Like this, more sidebars.
Yes, because we can stretch, we stop. We didn't like when she says, oh, we're going to get here at 8:30 and then we're going to get inside at 9:30. Didn't make sense. Or they get late, too long of a lunch break because they need to do the sidebars. So I guess the sidebars without us, we didn't like much because we want to get going. But the sidebars with us inside the court, we are okay with it.
What about, this is just a personal question for how people related. I know that I can't sit for 10 minutes without my phone, right? I can't pick up, if I'm sitting waiting for something, I want to get my phone. I just want to look at it. I want to scroll through stuff, even if it's unimportant. And I kept looking at all of you having to sit there, and some of the sidebars, which would go for a long time. And your generation, I mean, I'm 63, right? So I actually remember having to sit doing nothing. Was there this anxiety that and I know I don't want you to speak for other people, but I'm sure you chit-chatted about it. Was there an anxiety of nervousness of not having a device? Or did you look at it as a Zen moment that maybe I'll reclaim my...
I think the first few weeks, for me at least, was hard. Especially because I want to check what was going on home with my kids. So was harder to not have the phone, but we got used to after 2-3 weeks, I guess. I did, at least. I was okay with it. Being sitting down, listening that much information, that was hard because most of us were out of college or haven't been in school for such a long time, and it felt like we were back in school and need to take notes and pay attention. So it took me a while to get used to, again, to have that much information and learn and understand everything. But other than that, we learned it. We got used to.
All right, so I'll preface this with you were all very professional, very studious, took a lot of notes. What was the giggling about? You had 2 giggling episodes. And I know that you I saw all 3 of you trying to bring it back together. And I have to admit, I had a giggling episode with a court officer during some testimony, so it happened.
I remember one of them was because I think Alan Jackson asked Yuri Buchanan, the judge asked, you expect me to read all this? And then Alan Jackson, yes, I did. So we laugh about it because it was a thick document. And another, I don't remember another one, but that one, the three of us laughed, and I think the judge called us to ask individual questions on the following day or 2 days after, and we thought it was because of that, because the three of us just start laughing. Me and juror 4, that's also speaking.
And
Jason, yes, yes, and the other lady between us. So it was because of that. Like sometimes, and we try not. Some witnesses show or said something that was so absurd, or some interactions between lawyers and the witness was a bit rude. So we have to keep together, be quiet, but something were entertaining.
Tell me, it's a workplace basically too. So things happen that you end up having a private joke about something, and then it just gets out of hand sometimes. Talk to me about the reaction when the verdict was read and the crowd outside screamed and cheered, because after the first verdict that was not guilty, it was hard to hear in there, and outside just erupted. Were you shocked about that? Tell me what it felt like as you heard you heard your verdict being read, and then you heard the crowd outside.
To be honest with you, I don't remember what happened in that courtroom that day, that moment, because once I heard the people outside, I just closed my eyes and I started crying, and I left the courtroom without looking to anyone. I did not expect to hear it, because through the whole trial, we didn't hear anything on a jury room. We did not saw many people outside because we come from the back of the courthouse. So we would see someone walk with a pink shirt here and there, but that was it. Never hear chanting or comments or laughing or yelling or booing, nothing. And it's particular to me when I heard that people screaming out of happiness. At the same time, I was seeing John O'Keefe's family crying out of sadness, and that broke my heart. So that moment, I kind of understood how big this case was and how we're making someone happy, and we're making a lot of other people sad too. So I don't remember what happened in courtroom that moment. I just closed my eyes and cried.
I'd cry. I would.
When you reached out to me, you noted that you felt that justice had been served for Karen Reed, but hadn't been served for John O'Keefe and his family. Can you talk about what that means?
Well, through the whole trial, I observed a lot of his family, his mom, and his moments to cry. Other family members or friends cried too. And it's emotional. It's a life. It's a person who lost his life unnecessarily. None of us know what happened to him. What we know is that wasn't Karen Reed responsible for his death. She did not kill him. And if she did, the police and the Commonwealth didn't prove that to us. So it's still, I feel super happy that she got justice and she's going to live her life, and I hope she have a great life ahead of her. And I feel extremely upset and frustrated that John O'Keefe's family, his mom, his father, who were there, his brother, they gonna still hanging on the question who killed John O'Keefe and what's gonna happen for now. I don't know. I know there is a civil case that can come up now. I don't know if the I don't know if the DA said anything. Or Mr. Breno, I didn't hear from anybody. But I really hope this case can be reopened and they can investigate it and find who killed John O'Keefe.
Who do you hold responsible?
I can't hold anybody responsible, because of the same way I did not convict Karen Reed because I didn't have proof of her being participating of his death. I cannot say another people did. But I do have my suspicions, and I already spoke about this, that something happened inside the house, and that I find very fishy that Brian Higgins and Brian Alberts and the rest of the family were investigated. I'm not even talking about the guests of the party at that night. They were guests. But there was a moment in the court that a picture of the front of the house was shown to us, and they had to take us out of the courtroom
I'll be reading
to
that
cover
later.
the garage door. And I wonder, why can't we see the garage door? Why Dr. La Posada couldn't speak about what she saw in the pictures? This was objected, so it wasn't on the record, I think. But she said something about I saw real estate pictures. She said in court, and then objected, and we needed to not consider that question. But once the word is out, I wonder why, what was inside the house that we couldn't hear about it, or why we couldn't see the picture of the garage.
Me too,
It's
girl.
such a challenge to be told that it's objected and sustained and don't think about it, or it's, you know, we're going to strike it from the record, forget that we just said that. It does seem like an absurd way to, I mean, and that's for every trial. It seems like an absurd way to run a trial.
Yeah, we did not consider that information when we're deliberating, of course, but still in my head now, and I want to know what happened at the garage, what happened at the house, why that people never came out, why, what Brian Higgins was doing at 2 a.m., 1 a.m. at the police station.
Let's talk about the cases a little bit. When the prosecution rested, what was the narrative? What was the point that you believe the Commonwealth was trying to convince you of?
She has good
If
questions.
I had to tell you ask you what the prosecution's argument was to you, what would you say it was?
Well, they want to convince us that she back up her car fast enough to clip him, taillight cut his arm, and throw him away. He hits his floor on a frozen lawn and died. That's it. And she saw everything and left the scene.
Were there any witnesses for the prosecution that you felt did a good job moving that narrative forward and proving that?
No, because just the eyewitness could say all that. And that case was Jim McAlbert was the only one we heard. And we couldn't believe everything she was saying. Her story was very credible, was very well said. I think that's the expression. But didn't make much sense. It's like if she was coached. I think some of the jurors felt the same way.
What about any of the expert witnesses for the Commonwealth? Were there any that you think did a good job, and who do you think just did a bad job?
Bad job, clearly. They're calling him Blue Man, Welcher, Dr. Welcher. I mean, without my respect to his work and his job, I don't think he was trying to hide something or convince us of something. I just think he didn't do a good job. That's it. Maybe his businesses needed to step it up in the game and learn a little more techniques, spend some more money on things that actually matter than buy a new Lexus. So yeah, it was, to me, felt like a joke, that video that they presented to us to prove that John Keefe was hit by a car. I mean, okay, I can put my arm in here and just wait for a 2-mile car to come. Anyone can do this. And you pay almost $400,000 for that person. So that felt, to me, I felt very uncomfortable. So yeah, his colleague, Mr. Shannon, I really don't care about his degree. Everybody's talking about how many years to complete a degree or whatever. He has experience. He's been working with this company for 8 years, according to his profile. He made some mistakes, okay. But, you know, adding Mr. Welcher and him together and the amount of money who was paid for them to do a great job, I don't think they did. And the credible witnesses, the lab, the forensic expertise, the scientists, the DNA people, the people who check his shirt or piece of DNA on the taillight or not, all this, the people from the state, from the Massachusetts State Police Lab, all of them, I think they work with what was given to them. And they did a good job. I didn't feel they were lying or trying to make up information for us.
And so what about the defense? Who do you think did a good job on the defense side and for making the case, and who do you think didn't help or made it worse?
I don't think anybody on the defense side made it worse. They just corroborate for the things we have listened prior. Dr. La Posada, for me, was very good, and the ARCA witness. I now know that they didn't want us to hear the ARCA professionals. They made it just clear and easy for a regular person like me to understand what really happened with data, with the videos, with the dummy, what the weight of the dummy. That discussion was so unnecessary. Also, Officer Dever, which we can't say her name wrong. She gets really upset. Officer Dever.
Yeah, she does.
Was
rude.
Scary, to say the least, because
wow.
I mean, I can see she might be a little immature. She's young. She looks young and new in the police force. But she sold vibe of being so desperate
I'll
and
be
angry
telling
to
everyone
everyone,
what I'm
like a
doing next
child
afterwards.
complaining and fighting with their mom. I mean, I just feel like unsafe to have a person with that level of immaturity carrying a gun among us.
What
Oh,
was your
girl.
reaction or impression? There were, as you said, there were some state police lab people, there were some state troopers that gave very good testimony, but Yuri Buchanan, who seemed to me as one person when the Commonwealth was interviewing him and questioning him, and then someone else when the defense was. What was your reaction to Trooper Buchanan's testimony?
With him, I was very close to him, like 2 seats away from him, and sometimes I could see him like making a fist, and he was really uncomfortable with some questions, and the sarcastic comments between him and Alan Jackson, entertaining. Felt to me that he was very protective of his job and his colleagues. So this blue wall that I'm learning now what that means. He's probably like a good representative of the blue wall, I think.
And
yes.
former State Trooper Michael Proctor, who was all over the trial but never appeared. Did you have some sort of image or story about him in your head?
So who is Michael Proctor? Like, I didn't know. I still don't know. I know he gave an interview last night. I'm dying to watch. I don't know. I can't put a name and a face together. All the times in my notebooks, I have Michael Proctor, question mark. Where's Michael Proctor? I don't know who he was. I learned he was fired during the trial. Some of the witness or lawyers comment. I said, okay, so maybe he's not going to show up because he was fired. And everything he did was bring other troops are bringing up to us. But we didn't know who he was, like as a person.
How did that impact your deliberations?
Garbage.
For you personally?
I didn't mind not seeing him because he was already fired and everybody else did a good job of bringing his role in investigation to us. I did mind not hear from Brian Higgins and Brian McAlbert. I think they should be there.
Did you, when the defense called Proctor's friend to read the texts, the offensive texts, in the last trial, Trooper Proctor testified and he had to read them. And at one point saying the C word, the judge told him, those are your words, you have to say them. And the jury was shocked by it. And observers now say it didn't seem that it had the same impact.
It didn't.
How was your reaction to hearing the text messages that former Trooper Proctor sent to his friends?
There was some wording that make me feel disgusted and upset. It's not that you don't have the same reaction if it was him reading. It's like just like Karen Reed and Brian Higgins text message. If it was him reading or her, it's not about who is reading. It's about the content. Okay, at that point when that friend came and read all the text messages, we already knew that Michael Proctor was a police officer who was fired, who was being accused of corruption or frame Karen Reed, whatever. So we already expect that something bad would come from this guy. So that's why I think you didn't see a shocking face. A shocking expression on our faces. But was disgusting, was unprofessional, and just make me think what else, what other cases could be judged like this based on the person appearance or relationship or demeanor, I don't know.
Now, this is a little bit of a biased question because you have law training, but looking at the lawyers, who do you think did the best job, even if they didn't win the case, even if who would you look forward to getting up to be to ask the questions or do the direct or the cross? Was there one lawyer that you'd be like, oh, this will be interesting? Or I like watching?
I like watching all of them. I like Brennan, the beginning.
Special Prosecutor
Hank Brennan, yes. I think he have a bad case. He had an investigation full of holes and he have to convict her with what he have. I didn't like the way he acted at the end. He felt like he was a little desperate or angry, showing some signs of disrespect.
Yeah.
But his name's
how about Robert Alessi?
Robert Alessi, yes. This is my favorite lawyer because I think the way he talks, like such a gentleman, so kind. At the same time, he's crashing a witness with information. So it was very interesting to watch.
We had a theory for
it's my favorite too.
We thought on the jury who looked like they liked watching Robert Alessi. People watching at home would say, oh my God, this is boring, this is terrible. And I actually commented that I thought after you saw Bob Alessi a couple of times, you knew if you just stayed with him, there would be a payoff, right? So like the weather, the weather, what are we getting to? And finally there was a payoff, right?
Definitely repetitive, trying to get there, but he was trying to get the right information to us in a way we could understand, and we all appreciate that. So it made the technical information easy, the technical witnesses smoother for us to listen to.
And did you know that Alan Jackson was the LA lawyer? Did you have any feelings about watching him? And
Wednesday night after I got home, my uncle, who is an attorney, and we used to live in California, he said that he's a Hollywood lawyer. I said, great, let me look up. And that was it. Because as soon as I finish everything, I just want to follow everybody. I'm start following everyone that was in the trial.
That's what I would do.
But I didn't know, never heard his name before. But I heard he's one of the best lawyers in the country. So what a pleasure to watch him working.
And David Unetti?
Didn't know before. He didn't take the podium that much, but when he did, he got our attention. He very articulated and.
He's a fantastic orator.
Overall, to me, was very interesting having the opportunity to watch these people working and make justice.
What do you hope the message from this trial is? Is there something you hope will change? Is there something you hope people who have plugged in, this is entertainment to some people, understandably, but someone died, someone was on trial for murder, families were broken, communities are broken.
True.
As you said, there's no justice for John O'Keefe yet. What's something you hope either changes and/or people take away from this experience?
I think if the community in general were able to get together and gather information and support and financial help for Karen Reed in this case, if they were able to do this for her, I think we now have to do the same thing for John O'Keefe and John O'Keefe's family. Corruption, it's not Michael Proctor is a cancer, corruption is a cancer. And I'm from a Latin country. We know Brazil, we had many cases with corruption. I'm from Rio de Janeiro, is one of the most dangerous places in Brazil. And it speaks to me, this case, because it's injustice, it's police, corruption, and how many people are in jail right now because of a bad investigation, because of a bias of a police officer or investigator, because of a bad system, because of lack of money to have good lawyers like Alan Jackson's Bob Alessi, and David Unetti. So, and Dr. Lear, I don't want to forget her. She was very spot on. She didn't take the stand, but she was always there with the documents. Like, we found her work incredible. So the message is, let's continue fight for justice for John O'Keefe. We cannot let corruption run the country in any level, police level, government level. We have the power. We are people, we have the power, and we have to use this power. We need to get away of fake news, get away of no-sense social media, look for the root of the problem, look for real journalists, real news, real information, and fight, and continue fighting, continue complaining, and protest, and do what needs to be done for a better society. I have young children, so I wanted them to grow up in a better place, in a safer place.
Do you have a message for the news media?
Please, don't lie, don't create stories. And make people confused and make one side against another angry and create unnecessary fights, unnecessary discussion. Why are we discussing? We are online arguing, wasting our times about the seat of Paul O'Keefe. Why is that relevant? A person died, another one's about to go to jail for no reason. Be more responsible, and it doesn't worth it for you guys to get a word and the news out there and the likes for it if it's not true.
And what about social media?
Worth money to them.
Look for good journalists. Go to court. Go see yourself. Watch the TV court 7 hours trial and make your own conclusions. Don't just listen from other people.
Do you have anything else that I missed? Anything you want to say that I didn't cover?
No, it's all good. I just want to again. I come out to talk about this because I just wanted the O'Keefe family know that it's not our fault. We don't want John O'Keefe to be, we don't want his case to die. none of us, I can speak for all the jurors, we all felt really bad for the family. We all believe John was a great man, and we all want the justice to be served to him too and his family. And the right person goes pay for this, because the person died, and whoever did or whatever happened need to come out.
Agreed,
Well, thank you for
Joe
reaching
Kelly.
out to me. I'm really thrilled to meet you after watching you for 40 days.
Great.
Too.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I like I said, I choose the people I want to talk to. You were one of them because I saw your reports. I couldn't see everything, but from what I saw, you have like a true impression of us. You were more spot on. You really saw us for you really report what was happening there. Wasn't just like creating stories for likes. So that's why I reached out.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. So one, we already watched some of Juror 11 earlier this morning, and I told everyone that Turtle Boy did an interview with her last night, 2.5 hours. So after we're done here, you can go watch Turtle Boy's interview with her. She's a lot more, actually, she's more relaxed in this one than the court TV one. Gosh, she looks so scared in that one. She seems to be more relaxed. Also, I'm glad to see an interview with Sue because I didn't know anything about her. And I guess I wanted to hear more from her. I thought she asked some, fairly good questions there. So that is that interview. Okay, let me go back over to my list of things I'm sharing. Sorry. Also, hello to all the new people. Appreciate having you here. Angela says, I was neighbors with Karen, never met her and didn't know till first trial. Local media said there was video evidence she hit him, and house party was made up to 30, 40 people, mostly teens. Can't trust. I mean, yeah, I'm always skeptical of how the news sometimes reports things on certain things, for sure. I watched TV live as well. Turtle Boy with the interview last night. It was very good. And Runkle of the Bailey's interview with Alessi and Yannetti was fantastic. It was fantastic to hear those two guys. They're just really nice guys, which is weird for our stereotypes of lawyers where they're arrogant and egos, and they were pretty classy, I thought. Pretty classy dudes. All right, so next on my list is another statement that came out on the 21st, so 2 days ago, from, again, the Massachusetts State Police. So what else does the MSP want the public to know? They say the association, this is the State Police Association of Massachusetts. My apologies. I should have read the little banner that's in the seal. Correction. The association continues to send its sincere condolences to the family of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. The jury has spoken, and we remain respectful of the process. However, since the beginning of this trial, there have been numerous attacks and accusations against our troopers and sergeants. Why would that be? I'm just saying. Okay. Careers have been lost, rightfully. Families have been devastated, and that's not great. And many lives have been changed forever, as our current and former members continue to be the subjects of baseless accusations. It is important to remember that the investigation into the death of John O'Keefe has been investigated with great scrutiny by both members of the State Police Internal Affairs and the FBI. To date, there is yet to be any information that this investigation was compromised in any way. So why did former disgraced Michael Proctor get fired? Wasn't it for bias in this case specifically? But okay. We remain steadfast in our commitment to represent the men and women of the State Police Association and forever grateful for the work our members do every day to serve the citizens of the Commonwealth. Oh, great. So more BS. Because here's the thing. I don't think just because these officers, didn't investigate well, I don't think that about all police and all investigators. I don't think everyone should be lumped in with the people that were on this case. But to sit there and say that this was done with the most you know, scrutiny, and that, you know, the FBI did look into it. And you know what they did? They hired ARCA, who said that this didn't happen. So, like, do they not know what we know? It's so confusing. Truth Seeker says Melanie Little will be interviewing Alessi and Yannetti tomorrow on her channel. Yes, I did say that at the beginning, but now there's a lot more people here. Yeah, it's 7:30 Eastern my time. It's whatever time YouTube says for you guys. But yes, they both will be on Melanie Little, and I think they might be making some rounds with all the different lawyers, because Alessi did say in his interview with Runkle that he actually did watch some of the YouTube lawyers like Runkle and Andrea Burkhart, who I also love. Chloe Albert's Revenge says Auntie Deb did an amazing interview with Laura Alessi, his daughter, and it's fun and worth a watch. She then got her dad on with Runkle. Oh, I have not. I don't know who Auntie Deb is, but I will look her up. Is it on YouTube, I'm assuming? Laura Alessi. I will look and watch that this afternoon. You guys should too, and then let me know what you think about it. I did not know that. Thank you for sharing. All right, we're almost done, you guys, with updates. We're almost there. So next on our list is, this isn't a very long one. This is the Juror 12 interview, whose name is Janet Jimenez, something like that. So this is very, very short, but I have not heard yet from this person, I don't think. So, wait, Auntie Deb's name is Jenny. Okay. Carrie laughs, says Alessi asked his daughter to make a studio for him. I suspect there will be a podcast. Shut up. A podcast coming with Alessi. Alessi was my favorite, and I don't know who Sue is talking about when people are like, he's boring. I thought he was fantastic. But I also get into really nerdy stuff that he likes to cover as well. So I guess it's not for everybody. Okay. So let's listen to this. Oh, this is with Channel 5, WCVB, which I believe is a local channel as well. Sorry, I forgot to say that. Okay.
Ben, good evening. Unlike the first two jurors that we've heard from who rendered their verdict of not guilty.
Let me turn up the volume for you guys. Some of these are just so low for some reason. Okay.
For Karen Read, this one, juror number 12 says during those 20 hours of deliberations, she changed her mind.
I felt like if they didn't pick me, they'd be fools, because I didn't know anything about this case.
Personal trainer Janet Jimenez says before this second trial of Karen Read, one of her clients had mentioned the case, but she says other than that, she'd never heard of it. When she was picked to be juror number 12, she suddenly had a front row seat.
I couldn't help but see her because I was right. I mean, I think I had the best view in the house. She was right there. The defense was right there.
Did you form any impressions of her?
No. Like I said, I knew nothing about her.
Jimenez says she filled a notebook and a half as she listened to witnesses and studied evidence over 8 weeks. She says when it came time for deliberations, she was open to listening to what the other 11 jurors had to say.
I was hoping that my fellow jurors could help me to go through all of this. So I went in with a very open mind, but definitely leaning toward that she was guilty.
Jimenez says what changed her mind is when she went looking for something in the more than 200 pieces of evidence. She won't say what that something was, but says she didn't find it.
And it was one big part that led me closer to there's a lot of doubt here.
Jimenez says there were holes in the investigation, but she stopped short of saying she believes someone else killed John O'Keefe or that there was a police cover-up.
I'm not there to say the defense's story was right or wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there could have been other circumstances that happened. So I think there was things that we saw, things that we heard, the evidence that could have fit that scenario. So again, that's the whole doubt thing.
Jimenez says there is one part of the defense story that she did not buy, what that was and what she thought about the crowds outside, coming up tonight at 6. Live in Medfield, David Beanick, WCVB.
I want to know. Okay. Well, that was a little lackluster in my opinion, but okay. What did she want to find? That's what I want to know. And what part did she not believe? I'm curious. I wish she would have said more, but see, this is another problem with legacy media. You get like 3 questions and they're like, that's all you need to know. Need Some Z says, I'd love to know what she was looking for that wasn't there. Me too. You know why? Because I'm nosy. Because I'm nosy and I need to know. I need to know. An accident report, Angela Halo. Well, accident report, question mark. Angela Halo says, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I thought that should have been there that wasn't, but okay. Okay, well, I have not seen that juror yet either. I wonder if she's going to speak out more. She didn't really say a whole lot, but let's see. So so then the Norfolk DA, Michael Morrissey. All right, so he's the guy who's just like, yeah, we're going to keep going with this. We're going to get a special prosecutor, because I could not believe they even brought this to trial the first time, let alone the second time. I don't understand why, but okay. But apparently after repeated requests for comments on Reed's murder and manslaughter acquittal, I'm sorry, not murder, all he had to say was, the jury has spoken. I don't know if he's an elected official. I feel like he is. And if he is, I hope he's not again. Okay. So Ben says, excuse me, sorry, I've been talking for so long already. The collision didn't happen, but for this Commonwealth to suggest that the entire taillight assemble was destroyed, including the diffuse, was debunked by the video they played. Without the diffuse, it won't line up. I mean, Brennan kept doing this thing, especially when it was the defense's case in chief, where in his cross of them, he would discredit everything his witnesses before, like every time. And I'm like, what are you doing? What? And then the defense took just pretty much every Commonwealth witness and turned it into a defense witness. It was wild. And I've watched a lot of trials. This is not how things are supposed to go. All right. So I only got a couple more videos for you guys. This is going longer than I thought today, but that's okay. I'm having fun. Love to see all you new people here. I love that. All right. So next up on our list, because I'm not going to read that thing because we've already heard from Juror 11 like a bazillion times. We're going to hear from Karen Reed's brother and her dad again. Did an interview, and we did watch an interview with Mr. Reed, her father, last week, and he is just the sweetest guy. We're kind of big fans of Mr. Reed. Okay, so let's see what we got here. And I did not know that was her brother the entire time in court. By the way, if you're new here, I didn't know anything really about the Karen Reed trial. When we decided to watch the second trial, I mean, I knew like basic stuff. So I was pretty much a juror here. But anyway, let's see what these two gentlemen have to say. By the way, I don't know if you guys can see it if you're on a phone, but Papa Reed there is wearing a Lexus polo shirt. I'm sorry, that's really funny to me. Okay, let me make sure they do. I mean, everyone seems very amazing. You know, everyone cares, right? Karen's family cares. John family cares. It's just, there's no winners. Oh, allegedly, Amy, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it and love you. Thank you. All right, let's go.
You've had the day, right? A little bit of time to maybe have some celebrations yesterday. How are we feeling right now?
Go ahead.
Relieved. First and foremost, proud. Karen, proud of this legal team, proud of my parents. That
Still numb. You know, you
After living 3.5 years of this nightmare, this terror, this fright, up against this power of the state and its unlimited resources to come after you. It's a nightmare. It's been hell, as I've said on many, many occasions. And right now, to have it over, it seems surreal. We were up till 2:30, 3 o'clock at the seaport. We're tired, we're numb, but we're so grateful. We're so blessed to Almighty God that, we have this outcome. Yeah.
And you're sitting in or standing maybe in the courtroom, waiting for that outcome. What's going through your mind? Can you kind of walk me through your internal thoughts there?
Well, it's very, it's something I would not wish on anyone who has a loved one, whether it be a significant other or a child. And the child can be 45, as in Karen's case, or it can be 15 or whatever it may be. I mean, so many days. You think of the first trial went on for multiple months. There have been multiple hearings, and now the second trial, multiple months, multiple witnesses over the course of the last 2+ years. And you see these court officers, and they're very professional, very kind, very accommodating. Good morning, have a nice weekend, so on and so forth. But in that moment when it's announced the jury has a verdict, you'll see 2 or 3 of those officers come behind your daughter and stand there. And their position is to be sure that if a guilty is announced and it carries with it a likely imprisonment, that they're going to immediately cuff her. And that idea of embracing her or holding her and go kiss her and walk out with her is gone. That is unnerving. And I've always felt that. And that's why we marshaled every resource we could, drained every account we could, galvanized every effort among women who really started a lot of this, because many of them have felt objectified, dehumanized, victimized, not respected, and have identified with Karen that grace, that fight, that resolve to not give up. And I tell you, if it had not been for them, they're in the thousands. And I've met many, I won't say I've met thousands, but I've met several hundred women at standouts outside of court. And I'll say to them, thank you so much. And I'll hear things, I wish I would have had a father like you. And I'll say to them, I'm sure you did. And they'll say, no, you didn't. I said, well, with all respect, the fact that you're here, there has to be some DNA imparted on you that came from him. So be proud of, your dad. And I mean that, So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but we're grateful. Everything comes to an end, and this nightmare is over. And so gratified and so fortunate we had this great team of lawyers. I mean, as you saw them, they're just so passionate, so smart, so dedicated, and they have so much fight, so much resolve. We're very, very fortunate. And when you think of the Sandra Birchmore case that happened in Norfolk County, investigated by some of the same who were part of the Karen Reed case. And I'm not going to, deceive myself into thinking Karen Reed and Sandra Birchmore are 2 outliers on a data point curve.
For getting those for us.
That there are not others who have been victimized, but maybe haven't been as lucky and as blessed as we have to have this movement and to have these attorneys so smart, so dedicated to fight for Karen's freedom. And
Karen's right there with them. She really is. She's so strong, and in many ways, she's a leader of this movement as well. They see a bit of themselves in Karen, whether it be just their gender or what she's gone through. But the lawyers have talked about it, whether it be Alan, David, Bob, Liza, all of them have talked about how Karen is really an integral part of this defense team, and she was from the very beginning.
Have you talked to Karen today?
Oh, sure.
We were with her this morning, we were with her last night in the seaport,
right.
And we talked to her a couple of times today.
How's she feeling?
Elated. she's just waking up today from a nightmare. She was telling us when she went back after court yesterday and after the verdicts and her freedom, and she went back to her hotel room where the entire defense team was staying and looked at her various attire, her suits that she wears, and she said, okay, the immediate thought was, what am I going to wear tomorrow? And it just hit her. Oh, there is no more tomorrow. So, just so happy for her and so proud of her. And we're blessed.
Me too, Miss
We're
Behavior.
blessed that the good Lord has seen this to a justifiable end, for sure.
Nathan, I asked you this question earlier too. What's next for Karen? Maybe a book in the works, or what are we thinking here?
I don't know what she's going to do. I think a book is a possibility, about these experiences, her life, her story.
Plenty to write about.
Yeah, and even before this, what she's done for a living and her health issues that she's had, those challenges make for quite a story. And then you add in, obviously, these legal issues and the family and everything. I think there's a book there somewhere down the road.
Do you think she'll stay in the area?
I don't know. That's up to her. We'd love her, whatever she wants to do.
Yeah.
Whatever she wants to do. She wants to go to California, Florida, stay in New England, it's her call.
Go to Australia.
Travel, do something.
Yeah.
Right? I noticed, Bill, and really, as I walked up here, it's all about getting back to normal. You guys are doing the yard work. You're working around the house. Is this the first time you've really been able to do these things?
Well, it's the first time this week, and it's the first time in the three and a half years, whether it be plowing this driveway or whether it be doing lawn work last year or spreading mulch. It's the first time I've done anything leisurely in 3.5 years where I haven't had in the recesses of my mind that threat that I could lose Karen. And that's very comforting. That's the power of Almighty God.
We talked about it just an hour or two ago. The difference feels like you can actually put your phone down today and not worry, is there, a concerning call or text coming through. And today feels, I don't want to speak for my father, but it feels like there's that relief there of, it's okay. If I miss the call, everything's probably okay.
Yeah. No parent, no loved one should experience what I've experienced, and my wife and my son here just should not. The justice system should be in place that at various levels there are gatekeepers who evaluate the evidence, who evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of the case, and make an astute, informed, and proper decision. And when you think of what's happened in this case, the Department of Justice, federal government was involved, and provided 3,000 plus pages. Also the ARCA, the scientists from Pittsburgh and Philadelphia area, who concluded based on their independent study that the injuries to John O'Keefe were not the result of being struck by that vehicle, nor was the damage to the vehicle the result of striking a 6'1", 216-pound individual. And then it was the Department of Justice that also provided you with the infamous Proctor text. And then with all of that, they still go forward. And then on March 19th,
hi, long time,
12 days before retrial 2 launches, they fire the lead detective. They fire him, the lead detective. And we still had to be put through the ringer. People may say it's absurd, it's scandalous. In our position, it's frightful.
It's scary. Truly.
And so nobody, and I would tell everyone who can watch this, take back your government. Get out there and vote. Do not be apathetic. Get out there and make your vote count and hold your leaders accountable. And if you don't like what you see, hold them accountable by changing your vote and going elsewhere.
I'll check that out, Peter, first thing.
That's the power of America, the power of your vote. There are 800,000 people living in Norfolk County, the richest county in Massachusetts, by the way.
The richest.
And my understanding is only 70,000 of them, less than 10%, voted in the last election.
before he's about to say what he's going to say, Chloe's Albert Revenge said, I found the case kind of misogynistic. Like the old days of women are crazy just because they dared to show an emotion. The whole Karen got so mad she killed out of the blue was insulting. Agreed. Agreed. I think John's friends that were female didn't like her because she wasn't a mom that just stayed home. Listen, I'm a mom that stays at home too. But you know what I'm not? A stuck-up mom. I'm not jealous of other moms or of other women, I mean. And I do feel like a lot of the females were jealous of Karen because she was a not married, no children, professional professor woman. Like she was amazing. And then I feel like the whole, their relationship was so bad. They got into a fight earlier today. Listen, I have been with my partner for 13 years. Okay. We've had fights way worse than what they were even talking about that day. They did try, and I am glad that the prosecution gave up on their relationship was so bad. And because I do feel like prosecution kind of gave up with that narrative the further they went along in their case. But I also feel like the reason that she was brought to trial the first time and especially the second time is because there's a lot of egos involved that were hurt and upset and bruised. And they couldn't stand that this little petite woman who's accused of killing a cop is standing up and just not taking it lying down, like including the McAlberts who said she was probably going to do that. Or I'm sorry, that was Michael Proctor that said that. Can you bring that one back up? Because I didn't get to read it, Polly. Thank you, babe. Miss Reed, you're all set. Oh, that's a good name. I love that. I truly hope the feds collected enough evidence to get justice for John O'Keefe. I mean, I hope so. We don't know. I don't know what all the feds found. It's just that's what's even crazier about them doing the second trial. The feds kept telling you, you got nothing. And you're like, we're still going to go spend millions of dollars. Just that's why some of the things that they're coming out and saying is just so infuriating. It's so infuriating because none of this needed to happen. Anyway, sorry.
So it's important. Get out there and take back, make your voices heard.
Yes, Mr. Reed.
Yeah. Anything else that you guys want to say that I have not asked?
I would say in regards to the supporters,
yes,
they put us over the top. That level of support, what we heard in that courtroom yesterday, when you're in there, there's a 3 to 5 minute delay between what's said there and what's maybe coming through on the TV or on radio and what people are hearing outside on their phones. And when we heard not guilty and the crowd goes nuts, it was palpable. It came through your body.
Oh, I got goosebumps when that happened.
Mick Jagger or Taylor Swift came out on stage at Gillette. And the place went nuts. I mean, Mass State Police told us as we were leaving, there was better than 3,000 people outside, supporters, just lining the streets. Security everywhere. It's amazing. And that's because of Karen. That's because of her story. That's because of the team and her supporters. So a huge thank you to her supporters. And I know a ton of them come out of Rhode Island. We see it. We've seen it at standouts in Rhode Island. I work in Rhode Island. I see it constantly. So all around New England, all around the globe.
Yeah, to hear that applause and it reverberate through that courtroom, everybody heard it. It was just one of the few times over the last three plus years I was proud to be an American. I said, "This is what it's about."
Mama Llama, for gifting
Thank God I had them.
Congrats to our new member.
Behind me. It was just gave you goosebumps when it just riveted through the court, and nobody. It was unmistakable. And when we came out. All right, it was just
all over again.
Yeah, all over again. Yeah.
Alan Jackson said to us, he hugged us in another courtroom before we walked out, and he just looked at us and he went, "I'll never forget that sound."
Yeah.
And we won't either.
Gives me chills as you're explaining it now.
Yeah.
Anything else that you guys want to say?
Thanks for making the story part of your broadcasts, and your newscasts, and then I know you typically run some special focus of it, and maybe the 7 o'clock hour with Gene Valicenti and Katie Benoit. So we appreciate that. The more people learn about it and then they do their own investigation, 90% come to the same conclusion. Karen Reed was and is factually innocent. So thank you.
I agree. I agree. Ugh, I just love Mr. Reed so much. He's so thoughtful, and I know he's older, so I'm really glad that he was around to see justice for Karen. He's so great. All right, I got one more video to show you guys. El Chavez says, if only Karen would have taken a pic of the back of her car when it was being towed, then mass mailed it to her contact list, we probably wouldn't be here. So glad she is free. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like, it shouldn't have to be on her to do the right thing. No, I agree, right? Like, but that's the big problem here, is that these people took an oath and a duty, and in my opinion, they kind of spit in the face of that. And that's why some people, like disgraced former trooper Michael Proctor, lost his job. And probably why some of the other people, like Devers, she is never testifying in another trial again. That is never happening. Because if she ever does, that defense attorney is going to remind everyone about her creating false memories, the most accurate, detailed false memory I've ever heard of. She's never going to be on the stand again. Good. Hello, Marianne. Hello and welcome. New here. I can't stand listening to the McCabe's and the Alberts. They are making things up as you go. Albert's reasons for not helping is sickening. Yes, I went on a very long rant about the McAlberts when we watched their interview. But here's another reason why the McAlberts are shitty friends. Okay, this is how they were. Well, the Brian Albert and them weren't friends with him, but everybody else was. All right, and they're all just, some guy. Okay, but then think of how they testified about Carrie Roberts. Everybody talked so much shit about Carrie Roberts, who apparently is their friend, and they were not kind about the things that they said about her. She talks so much. And they are not good friends to people. I hope Carrie, go get new friends, okay? Get new friends. These people are not your friends. Just saying. I would never say that about one of my friends on the stand, that she just talks too much. Ugh. All right. So the last thing I have to show you. So I am like the worst millennial ever, and I do not have any social media. No. That's probably why I rant on here instead of ranting to random people on the internet. Well, I guess that's kind of what I'm doing now, huh? But so my team sent me this, and this is a guy. I don't know who all the people that are covering Karen Reed, like who they are, what side they're on, with the exception of Turtle Boy, obviously. But I only know that from watching the trial and what you guys have said. So I don't know who Howie Carr is. Okay. I don't know. And I don't really have an opinion of him. I don't know. But a couple of days ago on June 19th, he had about a 17-minute interview with Alan Jackson. I haven't watched this. As far as I know, this is the only interview with Jackson that's out right now. So we're going to give that a listen to. Apparently, he only streams on X or Twitter. Whatever it's called. I don't even know. I don't think he's on YouTube. I don't know. One of my mods might say that. We will post a poll of food, drink items, and you can vote on which one Llama will try live on an upcoming True Crime and Wine Time episode. Oh my gosh, I love when my staff just goes and says things. I love that so much. No, I'm just kidding. It better not be anything bad or you're all fired. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I love them. Well, it depends what they put on the list. So this one, yeah, it's about 17 minutes long. Again, I have not listened to this, so I'm very curious. We've seen, again, Alessi and Yannetti were on Runkle. Oh, he's a writer, reporter, been around for years upon years. Okay. But he's only on X, I heard, right? Maybe that's obviously why I don't know who he is. But thank you for that info. I appreciate that. Love the assists. No, do you all want to be fired? I will fire all of you. All right. Let's see what Alan Jackson has to say. Oh, let me do the little booster for you guys. Sorry, it makes me deal with each one, which is super annoying, by the way. Okay.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show, 844-500-4242. Just about 23 hours ago, Karen Reed was acquitted of all the major charges, found not guilty of murder, not guilty of manslaughter, etc. And it is a pleasure to be joined this afternoon by her attorney, Alan Jackson, who did such a fantastic job in the trial, both trials, actually. Alan Jackson, thank you so much for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
I love you guys. You guys are great.
It's my pleasure, Howie. Thanks for having me.
So did you ever, were you ever in any doubt, or how much doubt were you in as to whether or not you could get a fair trial in Norfolk County the second time around?
Well, that's a good question.
Oh, I had, how much doubt was I? I was in enormous doubt. I mean, I never doubted the evidence. I never doubted her innocence. I never doubted Karen's, the just result should be that Karen walks out of that courtroom in the front door, through the front door, not the back. But did I doubt whether or not I could get a fair trial? About every single minute of every single day.
I did too, Jackson.
I doubted it significantly. I think we may be the only duo, lawyer and client, who has gotten back-to-back acquittals on murder charges. I mean, we got back-to-back acquittals. When has that ever happened?
That's a very good point.
Double jeopardy. And I thought you were going for triple jeopardy yesterday when they brought back they said, oh, we don't have a verdict after all. I mean, you're going into the record books. You got two murder acquittals here in a row.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll ever meet another lawyer who can claim that. Yeah, this team has gone through the gauntlet.
What was it like having basically the judge tied your hands, the defense's hands behind your backs, didn't she? What was that? What was that like?
It was difficult. I mean, that was the challenge, right? So Hank Brennan came on as this, sort of self-proclaimed stalwart of justice. We're going to make sure that Karen Reed gets a fair trial. That was just lip service. It was anything but that. The Commonwealth had a theme and a theory going into this case that they did not want the jurors, in my view, they did not want the jurors to actually hear the evidence. They had no interest in having the jurors presented with the truth and the evidence on both sides, even playing field. Everything they did strategically was to try to hide evidence, try to hide witnesses, try to hide experts from the jurors. They filed motion after motion after motion. And well, that's one thing. I mean, I can handle a prosecutor. I can beat most prosecutors with my hands tied behind my back. I know evidence very, very, very well. The problem is when the judge is on the Commonwealth side and tends to lean toward the Commonwealth, that makes life very difficult. And I've got example after example after example of the Judge Cannoni making very bizarre rulings that just did benefit the Commonwealth over the defense. And they're myriad.
You didn't even need to be a lawyer.
Yeah, we would get people would be texting in and say, why doesn't Jackson object to this or that? And I said, after he's been overruled, his objection's been overruled about 1 million times in a row. I mean, he's just pissing off the jury if he keeps objecting because he knows what's going to happen, right?
Okay.
So the court is a theater, right? There is a theater to courtroom advocacy. And part of it is playing to the audience. And the audience is not the public at large. The audience is not the bloggers. The audience is 12 folks, or in this case, 18 folks sitting in a jury box. I had to play the odds. There was a witness I took, Howie. This is still just shocking to me. There was a witness that I took on direct examination. It's direct. And it's an expert. And just allowed to lead experts. In every state in the union, you can have moments where you lead experts. Every question I asked was objected to by Hank Brennan, and 100% of his objections were sustained. I've never seen that in 30 years of practice. Literally, I think it was 49 objections and 49 sustained objections by Hank Brennan and the judge. Talk about trying to keep the information from the jurors. It's not like I was abusing my position, trying to get information in that was not relevant. I just had to ask the question 17 different times in 5 different directions to get the information in front of the jury.
Yes, it's
I've
very
never
annoying.
had a situation where the judge sustains every single objection by the prosecution. That's never happened. Statistically, it's impossible.
How about the fact when Brennan would kind of like drift off, and you would ask a tough question, and she would ask Brennan, "Objection, counselor." I've never seen that in court. Have you?
No.
No, never. It certainly seemed like.
Can you answer that?
The Judge
Can you
Canoni
answer
had
to
an
that?
idea of what she thought should be presented to the jury and how she thought it should be presented to the jury, instead of just being, calling the balls and strikes. That's what she's there for. Her job is very, very it's simple.
Thank you for the super chat, Lady Anger.
Yes, she is a gatekeeper of the evidence.
But no.
For sure, absolutely. So you don't want to allow abuses on either side to occur in your courtroom, but you allow the lawyers to try the cases. You allow the lawyers to direct examine the witnesses or cross-examine the witnesses. You allow the evidence to come in before the jury, because ultimately the jury is the trier of fact, not the judge. The most important folks in the room
Thank you so much.
are the jurors. So it struck me after a while, and it struck me in trial number one. She did the same thing. It was just, in my view, abusive of the process, not allowing the system to just work. Let the witnesses testify, let the evidence come in, and let the jurors weigh the evidence, and then let the advocates argue about the weight of the evidence. That's a trial in and of itself. It's not difficult.
What would if you could speak directly to Judge Canone, what would you say to her in criticism of what she did?
Well, I have to be careful. I am an officer of the court in every jurisdiction in which I'm pro hoc, and I can imagine I may be back here in Massachusetts again. I doubt I'll be in front of Judge Canoni. But my suggestion would be, just do better. Don't try to put your thumb on the scale. No judge should ever try to put your thumb on the scale. Let the evidence get before the trier of fact in a fair and, above all else, an impartial way. I did not feel this was an impartial judge. I just didn't. And I don't think anybody who's watching would argue with that.
Hello from Ireland.
What about the district attorney, Michael Morrissey, who got 3,000 pages of evidence from the FBI, pretty much conclusively proving that your client did not strike John O'Keefe, and yet he went out and spent close to $500,000 to hire his own experts. What would you say to Michael Morrissey?
Oh, more than that, I bet.
For Michael Morrissey, I have a lot more to say than I had to say to Judge Canoni. For Michael Morrissey, my overall arching comment is do better. Do better, sir. You are in the job of seeking justice. You're not in the job of winning cases. And that's what it seemed like he was doing. Not seemed like. That's all he was doing. And that's what Hank Brennan was doing. And that's what Laura McLaughlin was doing, who was writing all the papers, the abusive papers, the abusive process, trying to keep all of our witnesses out of the courtroom. Literally, they spent hundreds and hundreds of hours filing motions, trying to keep our witnesses away from them.
Thank you, Dave McGuire, for the super chat, for your hot rant this morning. I'm going to pause this for just a second, because you guys are being so kind and sending super chats, and I'm so thankful, and it's so kind, and I don't really know what to say about it because it's a lot, but I appreciate it. I love all the new people that are here. I hope we make you feel welcome and warm. That's what we try to do here, and I just appreciate all of your guys' support. I will say, as we're listening to Jackson here, I love that Jackson, if you didn't listen to Runkle's interview with Yannetti and Leslie yet, you should, because Jackson is so much more fiery than those two. He's just like, I got things to say. And I'm going to say them because I'm on the other side of the country now and I don't care. It's very funny because their personality, that's who they are. I loved Alan Jackson. I thought he was a fantastic orator, had great charisma, or riz, as the young kids say, but not in too much of an arrogant way. He's definitely a showman, but in a I feel like more relatable way. But anyway, I find this interview fascinating. I wonder if he's going to talk more, but anyway. Oh, okay. So they're saying, I do love you, Amy. I do. All right. So let's get back to this. I'm sorry. I just wanted to stop and just personally thank everybody for the gifted memberships and the super chats. I very much appreciate it.
From the jurors. Ultimately, we were able to overcome it, but it was not easy, Howie. I got to tell you, this is one of the most challenging. This is the most challenging case I've ever tried in my life, and we didn't win because of the process. We won despite the process that was put in place in that Dedham courtroom. It was a travesty, in my view, an absolute travesty.
What was the worst thing that they kept out? The butt dials, the FBI, the solicitation of a bribe?
You just hit the nail right on the head. The FBI. How can you possibly defraud a jury by saying, okay, defense, you're not allowed to mention the fact that ARCA was hired by an independent agency, the FBI and the Department of Justice, the DOJ, and at the same time allow the prosecution to get up and cross-examine the very witnesses that were hired by the FBI and call them your employers. Are you kidding? That was not a mistake. Hank Brennan did that absolutely on purpose, and he did it because he knew he was going to get a very favorable call by the judge. We objected over and over. We said he opened the door. This is perpetrating a fraud on the jury. This was not their employer. Nowhere close to being their employer. These witnesses' employer is ARCA. Yet when we went to sidebar, nope, you can't mention the FBI. And the Commonwealth was still able to perpetrate this just abject fraud on the jury. Now, thank God the jurors were smart enough that they did not allow that to affect their ultimate judgment. But that's the kind of abuse that should not ever happen in an American courtroom.
Did you think that Brennan was going to seek jail time for the drunk driving? No, I didn't. I told Karen going into the verdict watch, if you will, I sort of have the sound of the Jeopardy theme in my head when I go into verdict watch. It's brutal. It's friggin' brutal. But no, I told her over and over, look, there is a very good possibility that there's going to be an OUI conviction. Very good possibility. And that was in some respects, that was by design, and I can explain that at a later time. But there was, in my view, no way that Judge Canoni could actually impose some sort of draconian jail time. Nobody gets jail time in Massachusetts for first-time DUI with perfect driving record. And that's exactly how Karen came to, she's not allowed under Massachusetts statute. She is not allowed to consider acquitted charges. And I knew in my heart of hearts, we were going to acquit her of everything having to do with striking John O'Keefe with an SUV. It just didn't happen. And there was no way they could prove it happened. So she was going to be standing before the judge with a very clean record, first-time DUI, with no real information, true information about her BAC at the time of the driving. So I was not concerned that she was going to go to jail. Karen was very concerned, obviously. Anybody who's in that position thinks the guillotine is hanging over their head. Obviously, she's concerned, but I wasn't. And good for Hank for not seeking it, and good for Judge Canoni for not making it an issue of it. She was given the lowest level program that everybody gets for a first-time DUI, and that's exactly what should have happened. Is the FBI going to get involved in this, do you think?
I wish they would. I thought it was sort of a sad day for the justice system when it was announced in court that, and Mr. Brennan took great pleasure in announcing in court that the FBI investigation was quote unquote closed. I've never heard of that, Howie. In part, and keep in mind, I don't know if your listeners know it, but I was a prosecutor for 18 years before I ever represented a defendant, and I did it at some of the highest levels. I've never heard of an investigative agency announcing to the targets the investigation is closed. That has never happened. So I still have questions about that, but it is what it is. Mr. Brennan announced it in court. I took him at his word. It was to me, it was a punt on the part of the FBI. I think there's plenty of information for them, plenty of evidence for them to investigate, and I think they should. And I think that if they're doing their job, they should look real close into the culture of the Massachusetts State Police, a culture that can foster somebody as dangerous as Michael Proctor and his
A cancer. I remember that's a memorable line in your opening statement. I remember that. Well, I want to play you one cut before I let you go here from Michael Proctor. What did you make of that? Have you watched that yet?
I haven't. I couldn't. I was in a celebratory mood yesterday, so I couldn't bring myself to watch Michael Proctor do anything. I suppose I'll have to do it now you've shamed me into it. I gotta watch it.
I got to play you one cut though. I got to play you one cut as he goes over his investigative chops here. Cut 9.
Sure.
Is there any part of the actual investigation that you would do over?
Because it's blowing up into this crazy so-called conspiracy, maybe I could have avoided it by, looking at other people's cars just to say we did it. There's some witnesses maybe we could have interviewed a little sooner, but overall, myself and every detective in that office worked this case like we always do. So I wouldn't change anything.
Nothing.
No.
What? I have not heard Michael Proctor's interview. Sir, did you just say you all did your best? Is that what you're implying? That this was the best? This is what you guys do every day? There was nothing you would really change except maybe interview people some more? You mean like the people at the house that you interviewed together? You mean maybe you could even say maybe my biggest mistake is not recording witness statements with a recorder. That could be your phone, like all the other investigators do. But no, he's like, meh. Me and the other investigators, we do what we always do. We did our best. Are you? And then remember, we heard those statements. Yes, the MSP at their finest. And we heard those statements that they made earlier. Okay. Wow. Yes, Ben says that statement should call into question every single case the MSP was with the lead investigating entity on. I agree. I mean, and then them denying, like not wanting to mention that the FBI came in and did their own, accident reconstruction and said, no, this isn't what happened. And they're like, you know what? We know that you have unlimited resources, but we're just going to go ahead and give our experts all the information from Trooper Paul, that guy who crime scenes speak to because he's a crime scene medium. Like, what? Neeson Z says Alessi will be on Howie Carr today at 3 p.m. Eastern. Just saw that on Twitter. Ooh, I'm going to make one of my friends send that to me since I don't have X. It's on X, right? I'm assuming that's what we've all agreed. He only does that on X. Ooh. I'm not signing up for X for this. I'm not doing it. Chloe's Albert Revenge. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much. Says Proctor was apparently gifted the burner Lexus they bought for the trial for driving Uber and what appears to be all the donuts in Canton. He did the Peacock one, I think, right? Or I'm sorry, the Peacock one. Did he do the 2020 or the Dateline interview? Because I have 2020 saved on my Hulu, but I don't have the Dateline one. Simone says there was an audit last year of the CPD. There needs to be a lot of stuff going on with CPD, with MSP. Again, this is them thinking they're doing their best for another officer. Good God. We are all overqualified, apparently, to work for the Massachusetts State Police, is all I'm saying. Maybe they'll hire Burgess. He probably is looking for a job. Anyway, sorry. Back to this. No, I'll put my rant on hold.
Work this case just like we always do, Alan Jackson.
That is the scariest phrase I think I've ever heard from a detective.
Yes.
Given what we now know about how this case was investigated and not investigated, for him to literally say on national TV, nah, not so much. I would work this case just the same way I'd work every other case, just like I do every other case. Every other defendant, every other defense attorney who has represented a defendant in which Michael Proctor has touched a piece of evidence should be clamoring for some sort of habeas corpus, some sort of retrial, some sort of redo, if you will, in Massachusetts. He is a disaster in terms of an investigator, an absolute abject disaster. For him to say, maybe I should have looked at another car, maybe I should have interviewed a couple of witnesses. Are you kidding? He acts like it's an afterthought. That is your job, sir.
Unbelievable.
Do your job. Do your duty. You're supposed to be an objective finder of fact and then present those facts to a prosecutor who then presents those facts to a jury. None of that happened. None of what I just described happened. And that is day one in law school. That's day one. You learn that.
How's Karen Reed doing right now?
Wow. Phenomenal. She is the toughest woman I know. She has a steel spine. She's got no quit. She's never given up. I think we're all in a position right now. We've lived in the pressure cooker of the last 3 years of this onerous draconian system that's tried to break her and beat her down, and we've all sort of been through it. Nobody as much as she has, and I think she's just processing what it feels like to be, a truly free woman. She's buoyed by the tens of thousands, millions of supporters who have raised their voices in defense of her, and that's where she gives the credit. Look, we all worked really hard, including her. By the way, she's the unsung hero of the defense team. She's as good a lawyer as I've ever seen, and I've seen some damn good lawyers. She's as good as I've ever seen, strategically, attention to detail, finding the evidence, finding the details, and exploiting those details and exploring those details in a courtroom. She's as good as it gets. But I think now she wants to take a beat, take a breath. She never wanted to be a lawyer. She never wanted to be in this position. I think she's probably going to a little separation from the justice system.
I hope she gets her job back at Fidelity. Alan Jackson, I'm so appreciative of you coming on and give our best to Karen. And I hope next month when you come back, you can come in and spend an hour with us talking about this case.
I'd love to. That's a gentleman's invitation. I will take you up on that.
Okay, I'll be in touch with you in about 4 weeks or so. Great, thank you so much, Alan. And Alan, thank you so much on behalf of everybody in Norfolk County and the Commonwealth. We're so happy about the way it turned out. Thank you.
Me too.
Oh, that's great.
Talk soon.
That's Alan Jackson, Karen Reed's lawyer. That was interesting, very interesting.
That was great. I hadn't heard that interview with Jackson yet. It's the way he talks versus Alessia and Yannetti, who, they do throw some shade, but they're still very, refrained when they talk a little bit. I can't believe that's what Michael Proctor said. Disgraced former trooper Michael Proctor. That guy. You wouldn't change anything? Anything. That's the thing. People in this area can't just admit it. And then you guys all want to be like, oh, why are people coming after us? We don't understand. It's because you say stuff, crazy stuff like that. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, yes, by the way, if you like hanging out in the chat or you like me or anyone else that's on the show, we do have our own Discord server. It's called The Courtyard that we all run together because we were all friends that just watched trials together on YouTube and many years ago. And now we're all besties. Anyway, that's where we hang out when we're not on air. We do all sorts of things. We watch stuff, play games, talk. We have true crime, case files and whatnot on there. It's just a fun place to hang out. So feel free to join our Discord to do that. I think we might be watching maybe the 2020 Dateline, but I don't know because I haven't been in a conversation with that. But anyway, so I do have a few things to read to you though before we're not done yet, you guys. I love, because I'm a nerd, right? This all feels to me like, when they do behind the scenes and director commentary for movies and shows. It's my favorite thing. I love watching how stuff is made. And I feel like all of these interviews and whatnot, that's what it feels like to me. I'm a big nerd about it, but I love that everybody's talking out about it, and I really wish people would stop being a-holes to them in social media, but that's why I don't have social media, because it's a cesspool. Somebody did say earlier, I forgot who said that already. I'm sorry. Michael Proctor, in his remark, just blew any sense out of my head. But somebody did say that at 3 p.m. Eastern today, Alessi will be on Howie Carr. So I'm going to find a way to watch that. Somebody's going to stream it for me in the Discord, maybe. I don't know. Oh, yes. We also chat in there during live interviews. Like, you know, we were watching Runkle on Friday. Like, we were all individually watching it, but, you know, the chat was just crazy. So we just went in our trial chat and we all were talking like in here with just a smaller, you know, size chat. And same with Turtle Boy last night. There were so many people watching those, which is, they're amazing. Again, go check out Runkle of the Bailey's interview with Alessi and Yannetti. It was so good. I really enjoyed it too, because I only watched the second trial. So Yannetti didn't really have a chance with a lot of witnesses, because most of his witnesses didn't end up called or whatever. So I didn't really get much of an impression from Yannetti, who I heard trial 1, but they didn't have Alessi. So he did a lot more stuff and people seem to know it more, but I didn't. And to hear him on Runkle's interview, I just like fell in love with him. I was like, oh, so yeah, everyone's right. You are a pretty cool guy. Those were both fantastic. Okay, so I have a few things to read to you though before we're done. Okay, so this, again, because I don't have social media, so my team sends me this stuff, is from Victoria George on X. Now, she is the one who joined the defense team after being an alternate on trial 1, which I heard about, but I didn't know who she was in the courtroom or where she was. But I think maybe she might have been sitting in Karen's side some days. I don't know. But she did sign on to work as part of the legal team. So anyway, this is what she had to say on X the other day. Excuse me. She said, "Some were surprised by my decision to join the defense team. As it turns out, when you make a lawyer sit through 9 weeks of bogus testimony that only prove that a woman is being railroaded, they may end up being inspired to try to help right an injustice." See, where most of us probably aren't lawyers. And that's how obvious it was. You didn't even need to be a lawyer to be like, what's happening here? This is not right. Anyway, she goes on to say, "I don't believe my selection as an alternate in the first trial was random." Ooh, interesting. "The day of closing arguments, within about 2 seconds of being picked as an alternate, which is why I look so mad so quickly, as per reaction tweets I later read, I realized the other new alternate and the juror who disappeared that morning were the same 3 who'd been part of reporting that juror misconduct weeks before." What does that mean? What was the juror misconduct that they reported? Oh my gosh. Okay. "This combined with 1, how the wooden box sounded pretty hollow to me. 2, how quickly the draw happened. 3, and how I don't think Jim, he was the hear ye guy, which I do miss. Anyway, I don't think Jim even looked at my wooden ball before reading my number. I've tried desperately to find this video, but it cuts away before he reads mine. All led me to believe something was off. So when they brought us back to our juror lair, I immediately asked the court officer if I could talk to the judge because I felt it was a rigged draw. He looked at the other alternate and said something to the effect of, 'Do you think this too?' At this point, I had literally no idea what she was thinking and felt a little worried that I might sound like a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist. When her response was, 'It feels pretty convenient to me too.' I was floored and validated." Wow. Wow. Okay. That's I don't know anything about the first jury. I don't think many of them spoke out except for one, which I know the one guy, I think his name's Ronnie, went on Turtle Boy. I didn't watch that interview, but Turtle Boy last night. I had never watched this stuff before, but he was like, apparently people had been hating on this Ronnie guy who was a juror from trial 1. I think he was an alternate. Anyway, he goes, I don't like all this hate that Ronnie's getting on social media. But like a minute before, after Paula, juror 11, gets off, he was like, Ronnie's the Timu Paula of the first trial. You're like, wait, what? Why would you say that? But I don't know anything about that guy, so I don't have an opinion either way. I just thought it was very funny. Oh, he deliberated. Oh, okay, sorry. Again, I don't know. So Mark H says, I appreciate continuing coverage of this. I've been down with flu since last week. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you're feeling better. I was late to the party on this trial. I think I joined the party 3 to 4 weeks ago after watching first video. Yeah, it's really captivated the country, and like a lot of people are really into this. And I mean, we've watched trials for many years, not on this channel. We just kind of started this, but me and my friends did, and I've never seen a trial like this. And I do hope that everyone that was engaged with this trial wants to watch other trials, because this is not I'm going to go on a rant on who I think is a worse judge than Judge Bev after I'm done reading here. But I do hope you guys keep following trials or true crime things in general. I hope it gives you a different outlook on the way things can go, because a lot of people don't think trials should be televised. I do. I mean, if anything, could you imagine if none of this trial was televised and none of us would know about it? She wouldn't have had the support to raise the money, to have the defense team, all of that. I am very happy that this was televised, and I get very angry when other courts are like, no, it's ridiculous. And I especially do not like that the federal courts do not allow cameras. Especially don't like that one. All right, so you guys have been asking for Brennan's comment. Statement, I mean. So here is Hank Brennan's statement regarding the verdict of Karen Reed. I am disappointed in the verdict and the fact that we could not achieve justice for John O'Keefe and his family. Sorry, you knew it was always in case when you took it. District Attorney Michael Morrissey appointed me, giving me full discretion to independently assess the case and follow the evidence no matter where it led. Sorry, guys. If you're new here, I do live by a train, and sometimes we hear the train. We say it's train time. Choo-choo. So you get full discretion to follow the evidence no matter where it led. So you just ignored all the 3,000 pages of FBI stuff that said it didn't happen. But okay. After an independent and thorough review of all the evidence, I concluded that the evidence led to one person and only one person. Really? Neither the closed federal investigation nor my independent review led me to identify any other possible suspect or person responsible for the death of John O'Keefe. Well, maybe because it was a shitty investigation. Okay. The campaign of intimidation and abuse that has been waged, funded, and promoted in public and on social media is the antithesis of justice. If this type of conduct becomes commonplace, it'll threaten the integrity of our judicial system, affecting both victims and the criminally accused. Really? You think if that conduct becomes commonplace, it's going to ruin our judicial system? What about the shitty investigation that was done and the malicious prosecution that you guys shouldn't have went to trial twice? What if that's more commonplace in our judicial system? Wouldn't that do the integrity? Doesn't that happen a lot, Mr. Brennan? You are a defense attorney. Are innocent people not railroaded all the time by corrupt police, by corrupt prosecutions due to politics all the time? That's actually commonplace. And that's what makes people distrust our justice system. Oh, sir, you know better. Shame. You know better, sir. We cannot condone witness abuse. I don't either. Both things can be true. Causing participants to worry for their own safety or that of their families. I agree, Brennan. That's the first normal thing you've said. It is my hope that with the verdict, the witnesses and their families will be left alone. I agree. Tell that to McAlbert. Tell them not to go and do interviews, but okay. The harassment of these innocent families, victims, and family members is deplorable and should never happen again in a case in this Commonwealth. I agree. That behavior is not great. It is not great. I do not like it. But that does not mean that there was lies and like how can these people say, oh, that can't be what happened to John? You know how hard a conspiracy is to get people to be quiet about a conspiracy? There's no way it could be a conspiracy. And now that Karen Reed has been found not guilty, those people are all like, oh my God, everything's a conspiracy. That's why she was found not guilty. Look at all these conspiracies. Oh, so now conspiracies can happen. But a conspiracy can't happen between the people who were law enforcement, who has a dead cop on their yard. That's not plausible. Get out of here. Oh, Cindy says the defense of the McAlberts continues. That's all Hank has done. Defend them. I mean, it's something. Anyway, he does finish with my heartfelt condolences to the O'Keefe family and faith that over the coming years, they will find peace and closure. You know what else really burns my bum or whatever? I don't know how that goes right now, but some people are acting like you can't be happy that Karen is free and got justice and feel sympathy for the O'Keefes at the same time. You can absolutely feel both things at the same. Both things can be true. Why is it one side that is able to do that, but then the other side have said some of the wildest? I don't understand. But let's get back to Brennan's statement here. I'm a little disappointed. I think he should have just not said anything in general. I'm sorry. I don't understand why they're still, covering their own ass. Oh, it's probably because you got to find your own. I'm sorry. Let me repeat this. Giving me full discretion to independently assess the case and follow the evidence no matter where it led. Of course, you're going to say that when you have to justify spending $400,000 on a guy who lies on a CV. And Dr. Welcher, who likes to dress up in cosplay for some reason and put blue paint on his arm. Like, of course you're going to say this. Because Magnolia says, Paula is a very strong and intelligent woman. Yes, I agree. I want to watch. She said she was going to watch the first trial. And to be honest, I hope if she starts her own YouTube, I want to watch her watch the first trial. Like that, I want to watch that content. Unless she wants to come on here and do it with me. I didn't watch the first trial. I did watch, obviously, some of the testimony from the first trial when trial 2 didn't have court. But oh my God, would I love to watch her reaction. I know everybody enjoyed my reaction to those. Like, what? I would love to see hers. Oh boy, you guys. I didn't know that's how today was going to go. See, I have this thing where I generally don't look or watch the things I'm about to read or tell you guys usually. This is one of those times. So I was a little caught off guard. I do apologize to some for my cursory words. They probably didn't like it and leave. And well, I'm sorry for that, but that's just who I am. Excuse me. If more interviews come out, a decent amount this week, maybe we'll do another compilation stream, maybe at the end of this week or next week. So a lot of you have probably been wondering, okay, well, what trial are we going to do next? Okay. So, and believe you me, me and the team spent all weekend talking about this because there are 2 trials that started already, but they're on like day 3 or 4, and they're going to be over by the 4th of July. So by the time we catch up with them, the verdict would be, we'd just be playing catch up. And unfortunately, I have to be out of town and I do have a lot of stuff to do. And one, I'll just tell you what they are. So the one is, I forget the defendant's name, but it takes place in Connecticut. And it's about a party, a teen stabbed like 4 other teens. I don't know anything about it. That's all I know. So a lot of people are watching that right now. But again, we wouldn't even be caught up till the end of the week. So I was like, I don't know. And then the other one is Ronnie Walker in Florida, which is a death penalty case. But the victim is a 14-year-old girl that he was allegedly sleeping with, and allegedly shot and killed. And it's a death penalty case. But I don't do cases about children just because I know my limits, and I've watched a lot of children's trials, and they just really affect me too much. So I don't really like to cover those. And there's not a lot of upcoming trials. So one, you guys asked, am I going to be covering Kohberger? Yes, we are going to do Kohberger. That's going to take up 3 months, but that doesn't start jury selections July 31st. And then the trial is August 11th is when that's supposed to start. We're still waiting to see if the judge is going to continue it, but I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Then in the next trial that I'm very interested in is supposed to start in the middle of July, but we can't predict. Courts do all sorts of things last minute. We don't know for sure if the trial is going to happen, but in July is the trial of the Colorado dentist who allegedly poisoned his wife, and then while in jail tried to plot the murders, to hire people to murder investigators of the case, a dentist. It's crazy. It's wild. So we're hoping to cover that one in July. So what are we going to do in the meantime? There are 2 trials that start this week that we've all been very big followers of, and I think they're both very important cases. And the first one is Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson. Now, if you don't know who they are accused of murder and conspiracy to commit murder regarding Crystal Rogers. Now, if you are not familiar with the Crystal Rogers case, I got you. So tomorrow starts jury selection for that trial. It is in Kentucky. But the judge has already ruled that no cameras, no audio, no electronic devices are allowed in the trial, which means journalists have to handwrite everything. He also is sealing all video from the trial, like for the record and stuff. He's sealing it all. So like nobody's going to know. But anyway, so what I'm going to do, because that's supposed to be wrapped up by the 4th of July as well. And the Crystal Rogers case, if you guys thought there couldn't be anybody worse than the McAlberts, you will lose your mind with the Houck family. The Houck family. Yes, you heard me correctly. Could there be worse, dodgier people? Yes. And that would be the Houck family. Anyway, so this takes place in a small town in Kentucky. It starts off with the disappearance of Crystal Rogers, a mother of 5. Her live-in boyfriend is the suspect. Anyway, I don't want to spoil too much because, listen, this case involves multiple murders, conspiracy, shenanigans by families. The twists and turns are unbelievable. You will not believe the story I'm going to tell you over the next couple of days. And it's going to take me a couple days to tell you this 10-year-long story. Because once you start unraveling it, it's crazy. Okay. And it's a very, very important case for a lot of us that have been in the true crime community and wondering for years what did happen to Crystal Rogers. And it is very frustrating. Hi, Kelly P. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. So you can hear about my plan. Because I know you're really excited about or passionate about Crystal Rogers as well. So I'm going to spend the rest of the week deep diving the Crystal Rogers case. We're going to go over a gigantic 10-year timeline. You're going to know all the characters. I promise. I'm going to untangle this web in a way that at the end, we are all going to be Bardstown, Kentucky experts, okay? We got interrogations to watch, news clips to watch, all sorts of stuff to show you. And so we're going to uncover, because there's also already been another trial that just happened a month ago from a third person that was accused of conspiracy to murder. And that was the father of one of the guys that's going on trial tomorrow. Anyway, oh yeah, and of course, a corrupt cop. So that's fun. So we're going to spend the next 3 to 4 days deep diving. I mean, they're going to be long streams. I'm going to do it live with you guys. Yes, Dawn. Yes. There's a lot, you guys. You do not, if you were intrigued by Karen Reed, you are going to be intrigued by this case. There's still a lot of mystery to uncover as well. Other people whose murders are unsolved that I want to bring attention to as well that are involved in this case and don't get as much attention. Anyway, so while we're waiting for that trial to wrap up, because it's supposed to be done by the 3rd, I'm going to do a deep dive to bring us completely up to date. Then we're going to be collecting as much information coming out of the trial as we can, because again, everything's going to be sealed. So like, this is what we get is what we're going to hear. And that's also why I want to do a big deep dive. Because I don't know how this is only going to be a 1.5 week trial when you have 2 defendants and 10 years. Oh, by the way, the FBI is involved as well. The FBI is very involved in this case. But anyway, so we're going to then compile everything coming out of the trial. And it does suck that we don't get to watch it, but then we're going to spend a whole day literally going over every single update every day of this trial. We're going to read it together. I know it's not as fun as watching, but I think it's really, really important. It's important to me and the team, and I hope it is to you guys too. If you're not familiar with this, it's okay. We're going to hold hands. We're going to get through it together. I promise. Liz says, I've never heard of the Crystal Rogers case. I'm on it so I can follow here. Yes, it's so sad also. Like, it's weird to say spoilers, but like, it's wild. It is wild. And the Houck family is something else. So I don't know exactly what time we're going to be starting each day, because we just literally started putting this together yesterday, and that's what we're going to do tonight. We are going to break it down. As I said, it's over 10 years. So we're going to try to break it down each day, cover a good chunk. So it's not just like all this stuff dropped on you guys. Because we don't know what they're going to bring up in trial, because like everything has pretty much been sealed. So we don't know a lot of the evidence that they may or may not have in regards to Brooks Houck, her father of her 5th child. Anyway, so that's what I want to do this week. Now there's another trial starting on Wednesday. Is that jury selection, but it's in Mississippi, and usually Mississippi doesn't stream anything. You can't even get documents out of that state. It's kind of crazy. And that is the trial of Bryson Rivers. Oh my gosh, what is her name? All I can think of is Crystal. My brain, from all these interviews, my brain is just like right now. And oh my gosh, I can't even believe I'm forgetting the victim's name right now. That's very embarrassing. Lauren Johansson. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so that one's probably not going to be televised either. And that one we're going to cover the week next week sometime. Because it's supposed to last about the same amount of time, and it's not going to be televised. And that one's really important for this reason. So Lauren and Bryson were a couple. They're younger, like in their early 20s. And Bryson was an abusive piece of shit. Okay. And the two of them went to Nashville, Tennessee, if I recall. And he beat the crap out of her. He kidnapped her. Well, allegedly because this is what he was charged with, was kidnapping, coercing a witness, assault. He was not great, right? So he then gets put in jail in Tennessee. And the family, her parents and everything like that, like they did everything that you could possibly do. And I mean, Lauren, like restraining orders, security systems, like they were terrified of this guy, right? So they think he's locked up in Tennessee. Well, Tennessee then decides to lower his bond and he gets out. And instead of going to the probation office where he needed an ankle monitor or something like that. Again, I'm a little with these details aren't the greatest at this moment because I have so much crap in my head right now. Anyway, so he ends up not checking in anywhere or doing anything. He just fucks off and goes back to Mississippi. By the way, Lauren and her family do not know that he's been let out of jail in another state. And so he goes down there and he kills her. Anyway, allegedly kills her. And it's pretty bad. Anyway, though, I find that trial to be very important and interesting because, you know, this is a problem with DV cases. And when somebody's put in jail, like that's violent like this, why are they getting out on bail? You know, like, come on, it's unacceptable. And so that's another case that's very important for us to cover here. And it's the same with the Crystal Rogers trial. You know, it's not going to be televised. I feel like it's really important because nobody else is going to cover it. I know it's not the traditional way we watch trials together and everything. But I very much believe that these victims' stories need to be told and their justice brought out too, you know. So that's what we're going to be doing for the next 2 weeks until, and hopefully the dentist trial begins in July. Because see, I don't want to start another trial and then not be able to do the dentist Colorado one. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing, is trying to cover cases, do some deep dives, fill you in on exactly what's happening in the courtroom for the whole day. And so it's a little bit different than what we've been doing the last couple months. And I hope you all join. I understand if that's not really your thing and you want to watch trials elsewhere, that's totally fine. I won't be offended, but I do hope you stay because you are going to be very interested in these. But I will be doing Coburger if that's what you're interested in, all of that jazz. So tomorrow we'll be starting later. I just don't know when yet because I got to finish putting stuff together for the first part of our Crystal Rogers cases. So make sure you've subscribed to the channel, turn on your notification bell. Boop. Okay, like this video too. That way you'll get notified of what time we're starting tomorrow because you do not want to miss a single part of the Crystal Rogers story we're going to tell because it's a lot. I mean, within like 2 minutes, we have a huge twist. So it's going to be something. So to all of our new viewers, I want to say thank you for being here today, discovering our channel. Your guys in the chat were great. Thank you for all your commentary, your super chats, which is so generous and nice. We're just a small little channel, so it really means a lot. And I've just appreciated everybody being here today. And again, I ranted a lot. I'm just passionate. But so what we're going to do though is we are actually though going to redirect you over to another channel, that friend of the channel, the Broken Baker. He's sent his people over. He was in the chat earlier today, but they are watching the Connecticut teen stabbing case that I was telling you about. That's Val. Again, names are not my strong suit, but I'm going to send you guys over there. Go watch his stream, subscribe to him, like that. He's fantastic, and I love him as well. So that's where I'm going to send you guys. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow. We'll have the stream up for tomorrow up sometime later today for sure, so you can hit that notification bell. But again, thank you all for being here with me today. We did get justice for Karen Reed, and up next, we need to get justice for John O'Keefe and justice for other victims. So that's what we want to do here. Now, until then, you guys, go forth and be amazing. All right, I'll see you guys all later. Thank you. Bye.